Feed Nation. What you're about to witness tonight isn't just breaking news. It's biblical in proportion. The convergence of prophecy in politics has reached a crescendo that would make the ancient prophets sit up and take notice. Perhaps today is what they were writing about when they saw into the future. We're streaming live to millions on YouTube, Rumble, and X, and Facebook, and LinkedIn, and Instagram, all the places. So make sure you copy the link to this stream and bypass the algorithms by texting this to your friends. X viewers, post it right now. Facebook friends, you know what to do. Share it with your friends and family. And what does set the Raw feed apart? Well, it's because we interact with you in real time. So send in those super chats and Rumble rants right now, because we will feature them on screen for the whole world to see. And between segments, download the Next News Network app for breaking alerts 24/7, and you can support us privately through the donation links below. Show your support publicly at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and wear your patriotism proudly. You can also join our YouTube channel memberships for exclusive Discord access and special perks. Now, let me take you back to another September 26th that changed everything. On this day in 1960, something unprecedented happened. The first ever televised presidential debate between Kennedy and Nixon. Those who listened on radio thought Nixon won. Those who watched on TV saw Kennedy's confidence and gave him the victory. That single broadcast proved that when Americans can witness the truth with their own eyes, everything changes. Visual evidence matters. Seeing is believing. Today, 65 years later, we're not just witnessing another media revolution, we're watching the complete unraveling of the greatest deception in American history. The deep state's carefully constructed house of lies is collapsing brick by brick, and we have front row seats to the demolition. James Comey, remember him? The 6'8" Boy Scout who stood before Congress, swearing he was above politics, all while orchestrating the most political hit job in FBI history. The man who leaked classified memos to trigger a special counsel, who signed off on FISA warrants based on a fake dossier, who turned America's premier law enforcement agency into a weapon against a sitting president. Well, soon that man will surrender himself to the authorities. But here's where it gets explosive. Comey is just the first domino. President Trump himself promised more indictments are coming. The entire cabal that weaponized our institutions is about to face the music they thought they'd never hear. And speaking of music they don't want you to hear, how about this symphony of truth? 247 FBI agents embedded in the January 6th crowds. Let that number sink in. 274 federal agents dressed as Trump supporters, mixing with patriots, steering events. After 4 years of calling us conspiracy theorists, their own after-action reports confirm what we knew all along. The Fedsurrection is real. The receipts are in, and the truth is out. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, our British cousins are living through their own nightmare. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has just announced mandatory digital IDs. His exact words should chill every freedom-loving soul. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have a digital ID. No mark, no job. No compliance, no survival. Christians worldwide are opening their Bibles to Revelation 13, watching ancient prophecy manifest in modern technology. And back home, President Trump just did what he promised. Yes, he officially designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. After years of watching these black-clad anarchists burn cities, assault citizens, and coordinate violence, we finally have a president willing to call evil by its name. And what has just been revealed about their next action should terrify you. And in the Middle East, as peace deals emerge and nations realign, Israel finds itself increasingly isolated. The UN chamber emptied as Netanyahu spoke. Diplomats walked out like spoiled children, refusing to hear the truth. The world turns its back on God's chosen nation exactly as prophesied. Jerusalem becomes that burdensome stone, and the nations that burden themselves with it are about to be cut to pieces. Tonight we connect these dots into a picture so clear, so prophetic, so undeniable that even the mockers will fall silent. This isn't just news, my friends. This is history and prophecy colliding in real time. So buckle up. This is a show for the ages. Let's welcome you to the show. We got Philip in the house. We got Karen. We got Kong Lai Soli, Bill's Rules, Mrs. Pothead Kenny on the phone and TV, double dipping over there. Tantria Sum in the house as well. We got Deluxe Core, Stephanie Dickel, Karen Finley, Arcadia Angel, Lions Bite, John Patrick Smith, Theta Hong, Pothead Kenny is here. Pack 'em up and book 'em. Harold Grant is here. What's up? Bobby Riesling. Who else is in the house tonight? We've got David Williams here. Jose Alberto Maraquin. Hola. Good to see you here. See, we don't discriminate. John Porton is here. Tracy Belmer. Cahook is here. Stanley Davis Jr. Kim Weig. Susan Diane, stay down this weekend. They are recruiting. What does that mean? David Morcart Kingston in the house. Travis Chaplin. Vante Soyam. Good morning, Mr. Gary Franchi from Cambodia. Well, good evening from the United States of America, baby. The gang is all here. Bohemian Spirit. It's Friday, guys. Are you excited? What a week we've had. You know, we've got a goal tonight to hit $100 in the Alex Jones Was Right jar. Will you help us hit that goal? I know you will. You guys always come through. So far, 0, but I know that's going to change. All right, let's get to the news you're all waiting for, because we have reasons to celebrate today. The most powerful man in American law enforcement thought he was untouchable. For years, James Comey towered over Washington, literally and figuratively, playing kingmaker while claiming to be above the fray. He leaked, he lied, he weaponized the FBI against a sitting president. Well, tomorrow morning, that changes forever. The indictment is real. The surrender is happening. And according to President Donald J. Trump himself, Comey is just the first. The deep state's day of reckoning has arrived, and the dominoes are starting to fall. What you're about to see isn't justice delayed. It's a complete unraveling of the most corrupt cabal in American history. The evidence is overwhelming. The witnesses are talking. The storm has arrived. So keep watching. While the deep state drained America's wealth through corruption and weaponized agencies, hardworking families, they pay the price. 1 in 4 low-income households spend 15% of income on electricity alone. Since 2022, rates climbed faster than inflation while bureaucrats got rich. That's why I protect my home with this energy-saving device. It stabilizes electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, and helps lower bills, fighting back against their economic warfare. Just plug it in, works instantly behind the scenes. You'll even get a $100 utility rebate certificate. It's now 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Take back control from those who have stolen enough. Order at don'twastepower.com. You'll find it linked down below. So the day of reckoning has arrived, my friends. The news broke late last night. We told you it would. We knew that when we broadcast that first message, that first segment yesterday, that the indictment was only hours away. And here is the news as it broke.
Justice Department. Welcome back. Breaking right now. Tonight, a major update to a story we brought to you earlier in the hour. A grand jury has just handed down an indictment for former FBI Director James Comey. The Justice Department accuses Comey of lying to Congress while under oath back in 2020. Let's bring in David Spunt with all the breaking details. David, what can you tell us?
Well, Jillian, we are waiting to get the actual details of the indictment. We're just told that an indictment has been handed up against the former FBI Director James Comey. So I don't want to speculate on the actual charges yet until I see the paper in hand. That's the only responsible thing to do. But we know that James Comey, the former FBI Director, has been indicted. We're waiting to see if there's any sort of comment from the Justice Department.
But we do have comment from James Comey himself. Even Adam Schiff, Donald Trump forced out a respected U.S. attorney because they wouldn't go along with Trump's demands for political prosecutions. Less than a week later, his inexperienced handpicked successor brings charges against a member of Trump's enemies list. In my almost 6 years as an assistant U.S. attorney, I never witnessed such a blatant abuse of the department. The DOJ is now little more than an arm of the president's retribution campaign. Well, let it be. But there are community notes on this post because Adam Schiff needs to be checked. Fact check. A grand jury in Virginia found probable cause to indict Mr. Comey. From the evidence produced in the investigation of former FBI Director James Comey, the grand jury of his peers issued the indictment. Oh, what's the source? The Department of Justice. So an independent grand jury did it. And hopefully we'll see an independent grand jury send you an indictment too. Mark Vargas of the Illinois Review had this to say. James Comey turns to Patrick Fitzgerald, the godfather to his child and the failed prosecutor who rigged the Blagojevich case by manipulating the jury and hiding evidence. Birds of a feather. Comey turns to Blagojevich prosecutor for Trump criminal defense. Well, what do you know? And President Trump weighing in. We'll get to that in a second. But I guess we should let the indicted have his moment. Shall we? Let's hear what Jim Comey has to say.
Somebody that I love. My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees. And you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant. And she's right. But I'm not afraid. And I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice. But I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial.
Let's have a trial.
My family and I.
Just remember one thing, Jim. Remember one thing. I know you said you're not going to live on your knees, but if you go to prison, you never know what's going to happen there on your knees. Just don't drop the soap. That's what I'm told. So that's his pathetic response to his indictments. He insults, he's smug, he thinks he's above it all, and he's full on lying. One of the most arrogant, haughty, supercilious, smug, condescending, and conceited individuals I've ever seen. Thomas O'Connor says that. Of that. Caitlin Collins posted this 22 hours ago. She's the White House correspondent for CNN. News, former FBI Director James Comey is expected to surrender tomorrow, I'm being told. His initial appearance is expected to happen tomorrow at the Eastern District of Virginia, according to a person familiar. Providing an update from Kay Palance, Comey is now expected to be arraigned in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia on October 9th, according to the court record. The court has issued a summons for Comey to appear at 10 a.m. on October 9th. Two sources told CNN earlier that there was initial expectation Comey would surrender Friday, but there is no warrant for his arrest, according to the court record, that would require an immediate surrender. Gunter Eagleman replying, "Good, the mugshot will be epic." Lion Comey. Yeah. Remember what they did to our dear president? They gave him a mugshot, too. Turnabout is fair play, Comey. You shouldn't have messed with the bull because the horns are coming. Speaking of horns, here is President Trump schooling reporters after they accuse him of seeking revenge on James Comey. Gunter Eagleman writes, this is peak Trump. Reporter asked, is this more about justice or is it about revenge?
Oh, there'll be others.
Mr. President, I'm James Comey. Now that James Comey has been indicted, who is the next person on your list in this retribution?
It's not a list, but I think there'll be others. I mean, they're corrupt. These were corrupt, radical.
Oh, come on, Donald. We know there's a list. Don't be so bashful. We know there's a list. We're going to get to that list in a second, but I'm sorry. I kid. We've got a list.
Left Democrats, because Comey essentially was he's worse than a Democrat. I would say the Democrats are better than Comey. But no, there'll be others. Look, that's my opinion. They weaponized the Justice Department like nobody in history. What they've done is terrible. And so I hope there are others, because you can't let this happen to a country.
Will you appoint a permanent U.S. attorney to try this case? Lindsey Halligan has never tried a case.
Well, we'll see, but it's a pretty easy case because, look, he lied. You saw my truth today. He lied. It was yes, no. He didn't say, well, in my opinion, he didn't do a lot of things that maybe he should have, but I don't think he could because he lied. That was a very important question that he was asked. And he wanted to be specific, but he didn't. The only thing that happened to him, he didn't think he'd get caught. That answer that he gave, that was a very important answer. And it was for him, it was a very good answer if he didn't get caught. But he got caught lying to Congress.
How is this not President Trump, are you worried now that the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration?
That's what they tried to do, right? They did it with me. For 4 years, they went after me. They went after me for 4 years, and that doesn't include the 4 great years that we had in the White House. So when I ran it from, 2016 when we won, it began before I got to office. You know that. Wait a minute. Before I came to office, I started hearing rumors about Russia. I said, what the hell do I have to do with Russia? Nothing. And then it got worse and worse, and some of the fakers, not you, but some of the fake news picked it up and they loved it. And we went through a long time with that. And despite that, we had a great first term.
Because that's how it went, where they made you go and take a mugshot. Is this more about justice or is it about revenge?
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it. And Comey was one of the people. He wasn't the biggest, but he's a dirty cop.
He wasn't the biggest. Who was the biggest? Mr. President, who was the biggest? Come on. Obama? Hillary? I mean, we know that the whole Russia scandal started with that the Hillary staffer, right? Giving it to Hillary and then giving it to Obama and then Obama giving it to Comey and the rest, the deep state. Oh, I wish he would just give us a little bit.
He's been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it. And it's, as far as the case is concerned, he gave an answer. It was a strong answer. He then verified it a couple of times because that was a very important answer. If he would have equivocated, if he would have been like a little bit less sure, that would have been very bad for him. So he gave an answer. The only problem is for him, he didn't think he'd be caught. And he got caught, Peter.
Dude, I love just watching him walk around the press. It's like he's a lion looking for his prey. And I've been in that position. I mean, I've seen this walk, and it's remarkable seeing all those reporters just scrambling and begging for questions. It's remarkable, but seeing it here on screen, Oh, he's just like prowling, right?
This is about justice. He lied a lot, but this was a very important thing. He could have said, well, maybe, or I don't remember. He didn't say that. He gave a very specific answer, and then he verified it numerous times, and he got caught. The problem that Comey has is he got caught lying, and he was very strong. It's not like, well, maybe, or I don't remember, or he gave a very specific answer because it was a very powerful question, a very important question. And when he gave the answer, the only problem is he got caught. So.
God, I just love watching him just like mess with the press and just go into them. We got some more here. Are you worried? Okay, so we just played that. Oh, here's Roger Stone. Let's see what Roger's saying. 16 hours ago, he posted this. What I just revealed about the fired U.S. Attorney Eric Seibert is stunning. Let's go, Roger Stone.
So the U.S. Attorney who was fired by Donald Trump in the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Seibert, prepared a 51-page memo arguing that former FBI Director James Comey should not be indicted for lying to Congress under oath. What he didn't include in his memo is the fact that Seibert has a stunning conflict of interest. You see, his father-in-law, the father of his wife, is the godfather to James Comey's daughter. You can't make this stuff up. So the U.S. Attorney... A
51-page document arguing. President Trump says more indictments will be coming against the corrupt deep state officials after Comey. There will be others. That's my opinion. They weaponize the Justice Department like nobody in history. I hope there are others. And of course, right on cue, over there on MSNBC, they are freaking out as the news broke.
Investigation other than
for a criminal prosecution.
Well, what's remarkable about that, Alicia, is that if this lying to Congress charge is what we think it is, it really has nothing to do with the Trump-Russia investigation other than the fact that Comey was testifying at a hearing that was about that. It was about a leak that Andrew McCabe orchestrated to the Wall Street Journal about an investigation of the Clinton Foundation. So the thing that MAGA acolytes really want, which is they want James Comey to be charged and jailed with framing Donald Trump over the Russia investigation, is not going to happen because...
Oh, yeah? Really? I believe that investigation's ongoing, pal. I mean, if we can get him for, lying to Congress, I think that's a good start, right? I mean, can we just let Cash and Pam do their job and, investigate the whole Russiagate scandal? Russia. Yeah, they're going to hear a lot about that lately. Oh, it's not going to happen, he says, over there at MSNBC. I mean, I guess they do have a job there. Their job is to give their 2 or 3 viewers who are watching some kind of hope.
There was a special counsel named John Durham who looked exhaustively at it. He was appointed by Donald Trump, and if he could have charged anybody, James Comey, John Brennan, or otherwise, he would have, and he only charged very low-level people, and 2 of his cases exploded in his face. So, and he wrote a report that essentially did not really lay a glove on the propriety of the Trump-Russia investigation. But
that's because the pot is calling the kettle black. Right? The deep state investigating itself. And you really think they're going to go after Comey? No, because there's a new sheriff in town, pal. That's how it works. So don't go back to previous special counsels thinking that that's going to be, the gospel truth for your last thread of hope. All right? I just cut that thread, guy.
this is the MAGA mythology. I see it on social media every day. Kash Patel, the FBI director, and Pam Bondi, the attorney general, are coming under criticism from their right flank because people are wondering why they haven't dragged FBI agents and prosecutors off in handcuffs who were involved in not only the Trump-Russia investigations, but the Jack Smith investigations.
Give them time. Give them time. All right? I'm gonna give them some grace. Will you give them some grace with me? I think that they deserve it. I mean, after everything that they've done to Donald Trump and his family, the wheels of justice, I've said before, they may grind a little slowly. But when they start to pick up steam, you don't want to get caught in the gears.
This is the pressure that they're feeling, and this is their effort to deliver on that. And so whatever qualms Pam Bondi had about this case, she is not about to say anything but praise it at this moment, because she knows that's what Donald Trump wants her to do. This is a fulfillment of MAGA dreams. And there's a long list of people of Donald Trump.
I mean, a fulfillment? Well, it's a partial fulfillment. It's a good start, all right?
Political enemies that are on the list, that are under investigation, from John Bolton to John Brennan to, in fact, perhaps President Obama, to lesser-known figures like Chris Krebs and Miles Taylor. They are also in the crosshairs.
Yeah, get them too. I don't know who they are. Go for it, right?
And this is a moment we have never before seen in the United States. A
president who is actually upholding justice in the most crooked scandal, constitutional crisis we have ever seen. Yeah, we've never seen it before because it's never happened before. And we never had a president or a FBI director or an attorney general that actually had the freaking backbone to carry it out, because the deep state always ran in every one of those circles, protecting themselves. Yeah, that's why we've never seen it, but this, come on.
President essentially orchestrating and ordering his Justice Department to prosecute individuals. It's like the old Stalinist saying, show me the man and I'll find you the crime. That's what we're experiencing right now.
Oh, is that what we're experiencing? Seriously, did you really just reference that? I mean, that's exactly what they did in New York to Donald Trump, right? Show me the man and I'll show you the crime, right? Letitia James. Oh, guess what? She's about to get perp walked too. I mean, maybe she should have filled out those mortgage documents honestly. She went after Donald Trump for mortgage fraud. Well, guess what? Turnabout, again, is fair play.
Mary just said, she said, except maybe Nixon. And it's true. President Richard Nixon, he had an enemies list. And I think the biggest difference between that time and the times we are living through now is that even Richard Nixon attempted to do many things in secret and in silence, except he did, in fact, keep those tapes, which, one could argue if he had a do-over again, he might not have them. But the president of the United States is currently engaging in this conduct out and open, very brazenly, Christy. And to me, you're a prosecutor, you're a lawyer. This seems like a little bit more than just score settling here. This seems like the line between the executive and the Justice Department, which is supposed to be the Justice Department of the country, not the president's own personal Justice Department. If it wasn't already blurred before, today the lines are murky as all get out.
Oh, really? Murky?
Well, Trump has said that he is the chief law enforcement.
All right, I'm not even going to entertain these fools any longer. Okay, so here is Nick Adams' list. Who would you like to see the Trump DOJ indict next? A, Andrew McCabe. B, Hillary Clinton. C, Barack Obama. D, Letitia James. E, Fannie Willis. D, Dr. Fauci. Liz Cheney. Jack Smith. Alvin Bragg. John Brennan. James Clapper. Christopher Wray. Merrick Garland. And Ilhan Omar. Well, man, it's for me, it's a toss-up. It really is. It's like, do we go Hillary or Barack next? Guys, I need your help on this. I mean, maybe in the comments we can come to some kind of a consensus here. Man, it's really a toss-up. I mean, in Letitia and Fannie, and Fauci, I mean, crimes against humanity for that guy, but oh boy, Alvin Bragg too. But I guess the biggest ones would be Hillary and Barack for me. I mean, I guess we could just flip a coin. Do I have a coin here? No, I don't have a coin here. I would. Actually, I do. Look at that. Okay, let's flip a coin. We got, this is the Second Amendment is my gun permit coin. On one side, we have a skull with holding 2 guns, and then on the back, we have the seal of the United States. All right, let's go. Okay, so heads with the skull. tails is the seal, heads is Hillary, and heads Hillary, tails Barack. Oh, okay. So it looks like tails it is. So Barack Obama is the winner. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Okay, so let's keep going. We got some more. Okay, what is this? Trump hater Michael Cohen. Oh, this is interesting. Trump hater Michael Cohen says Adam Schiff and Letitia James will be held accountable for mortgage fraud. You know, it's bad for the Democrats when Michael Cohen agrees with the Trump administration. You know, was Adam Schiff on that list? I didn't see Adam Schiff. You know what? He wasn't on that list. Okay, well, let's add him to the list. I mean, Schiff would be right up there with Hillary and Barack and Fauci. I mean, poof. Man. Okay, sorry. I digress. Let's go back and see what Michael Cohen is saying on MSNBC.
Political suicide. Look at what he's doing right now, for example, with Tish James. Look at what he's doing with Adam Schiff. And I'm going to make another bold prediction here on the show. A lot of predictions at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot of predictions. Here, take these notes because, mark my words, politically, they're both doomed. All right? I'm telling you right off the bat, this is a political suicide for both Tish James and Adam Schiff.
More of a political homicide.
Well, yeah,
but how are they going to be? How are they politically doomed if Senator Schiff comes from a blue state? Attorney General Tish James is here in a blue state. They are elected by the people. How are they doomed politically?
It'll be gerrymander. It will end up being somehow. They will end up being held races. Yes, but they will also be held accountable. Mark my words, they will be held accountable for the crimes that they are now looking at. That's Ed Martin who's looking at him. And I know so many people are going to say, oh, my God, Michael Cohen is like bending the knee to Trump. No, what I'm doing is I'm actually telling you the reality. We could talk to each other all day long and we can say, oh, I have 1 million followers. You have 1 million followers. It's the same 1 million followers. 77 million Americans ended up voting for Trump. Mark my words, Ed Martin, the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, they will figure out exactly how to go after Adam Schiff, how to go after Tish James for these mortgage violations. And they
alleged
will be,
mortgage violations.
Alleged, correct. Yeah. And they will be held accountable. That's my next prediction here on your show. And I know that I'm right because if there is a signing of a box which is wrong, and trust me, I know, I went to prison. One of my charges was on my HELOC. I had low mortgage onto it. I had 80% equity. They held me accountable for a HELOC violation. Theirs is much worse. And rest assured, allegedly, right. So let's go one step even further here. When you have the courts on your side as well, what chance do you have of success? It's why I turn around and I say, doomed. Yeah.
Damn. That was beautiful. Michael Cohen coming out. Let's hear John Solomon also weighing in. Apparently, there's some big news about to drop. John Solomon got his hands on more documents and will be releasing them tomorrow morning. Let's check this out.
An internal. I want to talk a little bit about accountability and FBI. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up to a major story at Just the News. It answers a question that we've tried to pose for the last 5 years. Did FBI agents themselves believe the FBI had become biased? Tomorrow, you're going to see not 1, not 2, not 5, not 10, but scores of FBI agents telling their leadership in an internal memo after January 6th that they believe the FBI had become politically biased against the conservative movement and for liberals. And they cite extraordinary circumstances, extraordinary details, extraordinary statements. It's so rare for the FBI to speak up against their leadership internally, but this happened on Chris Wray's watch. Now, all the while, Chris Wray was telling Congress, we don't have a political bias problem, even though his own agents were saying day in and day out, they in fact had a political bias problem. The other thing we're going to answer.
Okay, so I mean, that just speaks to the whole climate of the FBI at that time. Christopher Wray, of course, following James Comey with that political bias and the the attacks on Donald Trump. So, I mean, the attacks on the conservatives, the attacks on Donald Trump, the attacks on all of us, really. I mean, President Trump has said, they're not just they're coming after me. I'm just in the way of you, right? Okay, let's see what this other thing he says.
For you, for the first time, we're going to be able to give you a specific number. How many plainclothes FBI agents were in the crowd and working the Capitol on the day of January 6th? Now, we knew there were 23 undercover informants. We got you that.
Okay, so we know that's actually news that is already broken today. We're going to get to that in another segment of the show. So let's see here. Let's go back to, let's check in with CNN. Abby Phillip and her CNN panel of leftists are in disbelief at the idea that Trump's DOJ might have a case against Comey.
On the record, well,
those facts are not in question.
Somebody lied to Congress. Both of them were under oath when they were testifying to Congress. And if you look at the words that were given by James Comey, by the way, a guy on the record who has no problem leaking. He leaked to Professor to go ahead and get there to be a special grand jury into Donald Trump. So let's be clear. He is a pro at this. He's not an amateur. James Comey went pro in leaking.
Okay, that's
a fact.
Let's stick with what we're talking about today. But
but I'm saying there is a history with him.
I don't think that history
leaking.
is relevant.
I think it's relevant. We're talking about did you or did you not leak classified information?
I really want you to finish your original point. You were saying.
So I go back.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with bringing up other crimes, right? I mean, it all adds to the atmosphere of the attacks on Donald Trump.
To the history. Is there a chance that he leaked and lied? Yes. Is there a chance he lied to Congress? Is there a chance that Comey and McCabe both lied under oath? There are a lot of options here, but the idea that you're saying that, like, oh, we know and it's a weak case, I don't think tonight.
Okay.
Hold on.
Let me just tell you the reason.
Don't know which testimony it was.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you. Hold on. Let me just tell you the reason I said that there are certain parts of this that are not in question. In the interview with the Office of Inspector General, Andy McCabe, who was James Comey's deputy, he admitted to the Inspector General that he was the one who authorized the leak. He also admitted that after the leak, he went to his boss, James Comey, told him about it. Now, the part of it that is in
What's so funny, she's like, we don't want to talk about leaks. She goes in to defend them all.
Question is, McCabe characterizes that conversation one way, saying that Comey just sort of shrugged, didn't really say that it was a bad thing. And Comey says, no, that's not what happened. I actually thought it was very problematic. But on top of that, one of the other parts of this is that
enough of you. I'm done. I'm done with you. I want to hear what more John Solomon had to say when he was with Hannity.
It could be.
John, let's start with the news and what you're hearing tonight.
Well, listen, the key testimony against James Comey is going to come from his inner circle. One of the people that he trusted and ran the FBI alongside of will be the key witness saying, no, he authorized me to leak information contrary to what he testified to Congress. That's going to be a difficult case for James Comey to defend. I just want to step back. Yeah, well, it could be McCabe. It could be Daniel Ritchie. It could be James Baker. I keep an eye on James Baker. Remember the documents we had on your show a couple of weeks ago? All three of those are in position to testify they were authorized to leak. We'll see which one is person three when we in the indictment. But I would bet it's James Baker from what I know. The second thing that is just the pure magnitude of what happened today. 50 years ago this year, an attorney general was convicted for the first time in history of crimes. Tonight, for the first time in history, an FBI director is indicted on crimes, and both men face the same charges. False statements and obstruction of justice. It's an extraordinary moment, a grave moment, when a director of the FBI is accused of this level of criminality.
Your sources tonight are telling you what, John Solomon? What could be next?
I think other government officials are in danger of being indicted in the coming weeks, some in the FBI, some in other parts of the government. This is the beginning of a large accountability roundup in government. And I think what's really remarkable, most of my career I've spent uncovering FBI cover-ups. The FBI has a long history of misleading Congress. Comey falls into that. But the evidence against Comey tonight comes from the FBI and its new director, Kash Patel, who promised radical transparency. And he actually provides the key piece piece of evidence that leads to this indictment. If you're a member of Congress and you've been tired of being lied to by the FBI, tonight's the first time the FBI actually did something about it. They turned in their own man tonight. I think that's an extraordinary part of this story.
Yes, it is. He even says more are coming. President Trump also declaring more is coming. Looks like we got some explosive fireworks over on the 5. Jesse Waters bodying Jessica Tarlov as she whined over Comey's indictment.
When you lie to
preemptive pardons because he knew that you were a vengeful bunch of babies.
But who didn't get it?
Babies.
But who didn't get the pardon?
Comey missed that on the
Comey didn't get the pardon. So this is just the beginning. Everybody has to have their house in order. They got to make sure their taxes are right. They got to make sure they never lied to Congress. They have to make sure they never committed mortgage fraud. Because the difference here is these things are actual crimes. When you lie to Congress, it's a crime. When you obstruct an official investigation, that's a crime. They didn't have to bake up some fugazi, untested, unprecedented law thing like Bragg. Oh, Eric Siebert. He's basically Comey's best friend. He got stuck in there.
Is that why Pam Bondi and
then
Todd
his son-in-law
Blanche defended
is
him?
in there. And then, all of Comey's, misfits are sitting in there. You get them out of there, clean out the scum, and put real people in there to do the job.
And Bondi.
Yeah, Kash Patel's a serious guy. And all he's doing is making it right. Now, Jessica,
he said he didn't know if Epstein ever trafficked anyone.
I'm not talking
That's
about
a serious
Epstein.
guy. No, that's about Kash Patel's seriousness.
We really don't care what you guys say or what you think or how loud you're complaining because you guys did this, you started it, and we're going to finish it.
Does this count as Jessica's time?
No.
Yeah, we are going to finish the game. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this matters because James Comey represents everything wrong with our government. An unelected bureaucrat who thought he could overthrow the will of 70 million voters. He turned the FBI into his personal political weapon, spied on Americans, lied to Congress. Now he's facing justice, and Trump promises more indictments are coming. This is not revenge. It's restoration of the rule of law. For years, they called us crazy for saying that the deep state was real. Today, their own documents prove we were right all along. The same people who locked up grandmothers for walking through the Capitol. Yeah, they had 274 agents orchestrating the whole thing. See, the corruption runs deeper than anyone ever imagined. So here's my question. Should every FBI official who signed off on the Russia hoax face criminal charges? Yes or no? Excuse me. And who do you want to see next to fall? Drop your answers in the comments, and while you're fired up, check out our merch shop. It's linked down below where you can wear your patriotism proudly. Yeah, baby, let's freaking go. What a day. What a way to end the week, huh, guys? Am I right? Every last one, says Jimmy. Lisa says yes, yes, yes. David, yes. Kev the Tech, yes. Patricia Duff, yes. Sandra Breedlove, oh, the 51 laptop too. Yes, put them on the list. Yes, definitely. Yes, yes, yes. All of them, simply all of them, says David. Finally, some accountability. Yes, Obama, Hillary, I'm ready, says Tamara. Scott Edwards, right on. Extinct Command and Rumble, Pet Obama and Hitlery. And check it out, we do have some Super Chats. What up? Super Chats starting to come in. Loving it, loving it. We got Arcadia Angel dropping $20. That was about 32 minutes ago. Thank you for that. Irving is back, dropping 25. As the Dems said, no one is above the law. Well, we're going to be going into some wild territory in our next segment, so don't go anywhere. This is huge. This is huge. Let's get it all queued up for you, because the news is pretty frightening. What's happening over there across the pond? And there's a reason we fought a revolution. Remember, guys? There is a reason we had a revolution. Okay. Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17 warns, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no man may buy or sell except one who has the mark. Well, today in Britain, those ancient words echo through modern headlines. Prime Minister Keir Starmer just mandated digital IDs for every adult. No ID, no job, no compliance, no survival. Christians worldwide are watching prophecy unfold as biometric surveillance becomes mandatory. Tony Blair pushed this for decades. Bill Gates made secret visits to number 10. And now the trap springs shut. Is the system the Bible warned about? Is it here? Well, the evidence is mounting. The implications are staggering. So keep watching. And as Britain launches its beast-like digital ID system controlling who can work or survive, American families face their own economic persecution. 1 in 4 low-income households sacrifice 15% of income to keep the lights on while global elites implement their control grid. Since 2022, electricity costs soar faster than inflation, another tool of oppression. Fight back with this little energy-saving device. Stabilizes your home's electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, helps lower those crushing bills. Just plug it in. It works instantly, plus get a $100 utility rebate certificate. It's now 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Resist their economic warfare. Order yours at don'twastepower.com today. The link is down below. So this was the big news out of the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer addressing the United Kingdom public, saying a digital ID will be required to work in his country.
The truth is, and that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems. And that is why today...
Oh man, I just get chills. I mean, that is straight up revelation. The mark of the beast, Revelation 13, verses 16 and 17. And here's an interesting anecdote. We got a lot to cover in this segment. But President Trump said something interesting today. He was talking about a peace deal in Gaza. Now, this commenter on X writes, if the 7-year tribulation starts with a peace deal, we are almost there. The Bible says it will be 3.5 years of a temporary false peace, which then leads to sudden destruction and the great tribulation, the mark of the beast. Now, check this out.
It's going to be... Hello, Peter. And it's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. And we'll let you know.
Mr. President.
I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal with, it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter. Not bad. Hello.
Now, here's the caveat here. The caveat is that if President Trump signs that deal, and let's just say it's a 7-year treaty between Hamas and Israel, that would technically make him the Antichrist. But the Antichrist rises out of Europe. So that doesn't necessarily line up. But who are the other players involved in those peace negotiations? Where does King Charles fall into this? Well, this new digital ID, the United Kingdom, that's where King Charles holds court over, right? Now, I've covered this before, and if you haven't been paying attention, this is the Prince Charles coat of arms. Prince Charles coat of arms, the Antichrist, and Revelation chapter 13. Now, there's a great book. I've talked about it here before. It's called The Antichrist in a Cup of Tea. It lays out the entire case that Prince Charles is the Antichrist. And this is his coat of arms. Prince Charles' coat of arms contains all of the biblical symbols of the Antichrist and the dragon. Now, Red Pill Drifter says, I'm not saying he's the Antichrist, but this is without a doubt who they are trying to usher in, and they will want it ASAP. He says, before you read Revelation chapter 13 below, keep in mind that when it refers to the beast, it's speaking of the Antichrist. When it refers to the dragon, it's speaking of Lucifer, Satan, the great dragon of Revelation 12:9. The same with the greater beast that speaks as a dragon, Satan, or Lucifer. Now, I'm not going to go into the full breakdown of this. What I would encourage you to do is just find the book, The Antichrist in a Cup of Tea. I think the PDF's available. Tim Cohen is the author. I've actually interviewed him before. I've actually even been to his house and sat down and discussed the book at great length with him. I consider him a friend. Revelation 13 goes into great detail, each verse. And when you look at the verse and you compare it to each point, you have the mouth of a lion, the 10 lions, the body of a leopard, the harp of David, the feet of a bear, order of the garter, the red dragon of Wales, Merovingian crown, the white horse, the eyes of a man, the unicorn of the little horn. This is all direct connection to that prophecy of the identity of the Antichrist. So it's interesting that we're seeing this digital ID rise out of the United Kingdom. Now, I tracked this clip down. I thought it was really wild to hear John Rich and Tucker Carlson talking about the mark of the beast. And he lays it out quite clearly. John Rich, listen.
Our money and where the mark of the beast. How is it possible, we would all say, that you could track every human being in the world and know where they are and how they get their money and where they spend their money? I mean, that's just impossible. And here we sit going, oh no, they're tracking us right now. They know exactly where we spend our money and where we get our money. Because it says you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast. You could replace the word beast with system.
Revelation says that.
Oh yeah. Without the mark.
You won't be able to buy or sell
unless you bear the mark of the beast. And when you go back and look that up in the Hebrew, it's talking about the global power that's in place at that point, the system that is in place.
What is the beast?
The beast is going to be whatever entity, a group of nations it speaks of, that will set into motion. We always talk about globalists and the globalist agenda and all these things. It will be a globalized stranglehold on the human population that they will know where you spend your money, where you get your money. Reminds me of central bank digital currency, if something like that happens.
So I've read, I'm embarrassed. This is being recorded. I probably shouldn't admit this. I've read Revelation, actually.
Sure.
And I tried to understand it last year. I didn't realize it said, how did I miss that? It says you can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast?
Without the mark, yes, that's
John, correct. The Apostle John, on some Greek island 2,000 years ago said that.
Yes, he did.
Amazing to see Tucker Carlson.
The mark of the beast.
Get the news. This is the book I'm referring to, The Antichrist in a Cup of Tea. This is actually, there's a DVD accompaniment with all the presentations by Tim Cohen. Remarkable work. It's definitely worth picking up a copy if you can find one. The Draco System, The Mark of the Beast, Digital Enslavement. Nicholas Vienneman.
Interesting. This is a fascinating conversation.
I've been researching this for months and months and months, and
I've wanted to put it out there. You know, it's very controversial, but it's very spiritual. We've been enslaved. We live in a hologram. This is another thing people don't understand, is that we live in a hologram. Our consciousness is real. We are powering this. We are powering the hologram. This is why the Dracos need us. Because they're disconnected from source, they can't create timelines. They need us to create the hologram on their behalf, to trap us so that they could harvest energy loosh for them. And I'll tell you what the mark of the beast is all about, the digital ID is all about. That's not only tracking you, but that's tracking and tethering or mapping your frequency, which is your soul, your toroidal field, into their synthetic timeline, their own synthetic hologram. Yes, they're creating a hologram that's disconnected to source field, where they lock your soul into their synthetic timeline, right? So that they would be making you agreeing in accepting unconsciously, like they did with the vaccines, to lock your soul so that they could harvest your emotional loosh energy. And they're going to make it like much better than Earth. It will be like paradise, but without sovereignty. You will never question it because it will be so great, but without sovereignty, without freedom. And that's what the mark of the beast, that's what is losing your soul.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Oh, but we're not done yet, folks. The mark of the beast has been trending on X today. He writes here, Kevel writes, the mark of the beast is trending because the UK government is making digital ID mandatory, y'all. The Five Eyes are already intercepting cell phone calls, AI software scanning our text, GPS knows our location. This makes it impossible to hire illegal immigrants. And this is the digital identity, all connected to smart cities, telecommunications, e-government, social platforms, e-commerce, humanitarian response, travel, mobility, food sustainability, financial services, and healthcare. Now check this out. This is kind of creepy, but it basically it's like, you know, Satan talking to his minions about the implementation.
Now, in the coming years, all shall receive the mark. The mark has already started in implication. Are we all aware of the mark? If not, please educate yourselves. In the mark of the beast, refusers of it shall not be able to buy or sell. They shall become beggars, cut out of the system, and that will be the pure delight. For they will be the wise. We brothers will never have the mark, for we will know that it really is control, and we cannot be controlled as we are the controllers. The mark will be the connection between AI, direct connections, free will, dependent on the algorithm. You see, at the moment, man has free will. It was given to him by God. That gives him the right to choose. Well, once we give him the mark, that free will belong to us. We will be able to track his movements, his body, his money. His decisions will be monitored 24/7. We will replace his God. A central computer that gathers all his data, from the smartphone to the mark. Now I will detail how all of you will slowly start to implement this technology.
So obviously Keir Starmer was at that meeting, right? People in the United Kingdom are pushing back. The memes are already starting to flow. Here's a picture. Keir Starmer, Tony Blair, holding up their IDs. They have horns on their heads. Clearly apocalyptic. Translation, you will not be able to function in a society without the mark of the beast. Say no to the digital ID. People saying, do not accept the digital ID. Do not accept the mark of the beast. This is it. We must hold out until the end. Even if you're outcast from society, do not take the mark. If you take the mark, you cannot be saved. Do not do it. Here is a breaking news from Sky News.
Mari, what? Breaking news now. Digital ID will be made law for all adults in an effort to tackle small boats. Downing Street believes that a mandatory ID card system will help stop illegal immigrants working. Let's bring in our political...
Think about that for a second. The digital ID will help stop immigrants from working. It'll help stop small boats. You see, they let all those people into that country. Problem, reaction, solution. It's classic.
Correspondent Mari Aurora. Mari, what more do we know about this?
Yeah, well, Gareth, this is interesting because this is something that has been spoken about a lot. Tony Blair, for instance, has been talking about this for years and years as what he always believed was one of the best ways to try and reduce illegal immigration and the ability for people to work illegally here in the UK. But Sky News understands that we will have an announcement, could be as soon as tomorrow, from the Prime Minister on these mandatory ID cards, an ID card system, the Brit card. And essentially what this will mean, it will be mandatory for all adults here in the UK. It will make it easier for employers and for landlords to make sure that those they are employing or renting or to actually have the right legal immigration status here in the UK. They can do it using a smartphone app. It's also, according to the government, going to make it easier for people here in the UK to essentially prove their status or their ability to kind of qualify to be able to work here in the UK. And essentially, this is all about immigration. This is all about trying to tackle small boats crossings. We've had a lot of conversation about small boats and about other European countries, especially the French, who have been concerned with the kind of pull factors here in the UK in terms of being able to work in the black market, being able to work illegally here in the UK. We already know that France has an ID card system. They've had it for many, many years. And it's something that the UK has always resisted, partly because of questions around civil liberties and freedoms, but also...
civil liberties, freedoms, throw them out the window. We let all these people into the country. Now we got to track them. We got to prevent them from working. Perfect problem, reaction, solution. Even Cernovich, 7 hours ago, writing The Mark of the Beast. He sees it. Cheerful Mark writes, here's my take on digital ID, Mark of the Beast. It's not supernatural. The ability of the government to lock you out of society unless you have the mark is such a monumentally bad idea. People have known about it for 2,000 years. Katie Hopkins, who's been a guest on this program, 11 hours ago, she writes, batshit bonkers Britain, 26 September. The government says digital ID will make it harder to work because that's really our biggest problem right now. Illegals wanting to contribute? Extreme sarcasm. Listen.
It's a breaking news, still not quite in batshit bonkers Britain, where apparently I'm a wanted woman. First up, digital ID. 4 words you need to learn, and fast. I will not comply. It will be, of course, a centralised point of digital failure. Just look at what's gone on at Land Rover and every British airport, but much more than that. It's a centralised form of control that we do not need. The government said it will make it harder for people to work. Oh my goodness, because that's exactly what Great Britain needs right now, isn't it? We need to make it harder for people to work. I mean, last time I saw some rubber dinghy rapids rocking up on the shoreline with Mohammed, Mahmoud and Omar, they were so desperate to work. I mean, that's the reason they came here, just wanted to work. For Christ's sake. In other news, Tony Blair says that he's going to help run Gaza and Palestine. And the last thing that Palestine and Israel need right now is that stirring little jugged shit goblin rocking up and running anything. I might just start a rumour or two that Tony Blair is actually gay. And finally, Morgan McSweeney, yeah, that ginger one, he has fraudulent...
You know, it's interesting what you just said there about Tony Blair. I'm going to go back to that.
In other news, Tony Blair says that he's going to help run Gaza and Palestine. And the last thing that Palestine and Israel need right now is that stirring little jugged shit goblin rocking up.
I have to laugh because she's just so funny. But remember what I said earlier about what President Trump said about the peace agreement? Remember? Who else? I asked who else could be a part of that discussion. Now we know. Tony Blair.
running anything. I might just start a rumour or two that Tony Blair is actually gay. And finally, Morgan McSweeney, yeah, that ginger one, he has fraudulently put in £740,000 worth of donations into the Labour Party. I mean, who would have thought that there would be fraud in this Labour government? After all, they lost their corruption minister on corruption charges. They lost their housing minister because she got a third home that she didn't pay tax on. They lost their homelessness minister because she made people homeless. So why would Morgan McSweeney be any different? That's it, my darlings. Not quite in batshit bonkers Britain.
Katie Hopkins laying it out there. And there are others. Neil Oliver, 5 hours ago. Digital ID, I say, at least, is the keystone in the oligarch bridge to their brave new world.
And reading digital ID, I say at least, is the keystone in the oligarch bridge to their brave new world. The key that locks the cage after the last one of us steps inside. But on account of how many people are wide awake and reading the playbook for themselves, digital ID is revealed not as what they say it is, but what it really is. It's never about what they say it's about, remember? Digital ID isn't about keeping us safe. It's about keeping us where they can see us, where we can't move or do anything without permission in advance. Too many people see and understand, and this is why it won't work. As I say, in the end, it's all about money. In every instance, a reasonable person has only to ask, who benefits from this? Who's getting even richer than they were before? Whatever you think the oligarchs would never do in pursuit of money, think again. They would do that. They already have done that. Erasing people, entire peoples, their own people, children, you name it, and it's happened before and will happen again.
No, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a money thing. It's clearly a control thing. 20 reasons why government digital ID are awful and must be stopped. Let's listen to this guy for a second.
Invariably, it's going to expand into healthcare. 20 reasons why digital ID must be resisted at all costs. First of all, functionality creep. They say they're introducing it for immigration, but invariably it's going to expand into healthcare, banking, voting, driving, internet use, travel. Over time, this is going to become a Chinese social credit style system. Second, loss of anonymity. Everyday life is going to be logged and it's going to be tracked. Cash, transportation, movements, communications, it's all going to be tied back to a central profile. So the government can decide not to like any aspect of that and it can restrict you. Number 3, government overreach. Shifts the balance of power further from the to the state from the citizen. We must now constantly prove who we are instead of the state proving any guilt. Number 4, of course, this is not going to stop illegal immigration. Digital IDs don't prevent people from crossing borders. It simply makes it harder for the people who are living here legally. If you want to stop illegal immigration, what you do is you leave the ECHR and you immediately remove people who come here to an offshore territory, something like St. Helena's, as Australia has already demonstrated. That is the only thing that works. Number 5, it makes us more dependent on a phone. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of phones are snatched in the UK every year, and now they want a digital ID which is accessible only on your phone, which over time is going to be the only way to get anything done, and we know that's going to happen. Number 6, an enforcement sham. Employers who are willing to employ illegal immigrants are going to carry on doing what they're doing now. They just pay cash if they need to. If you want to stop a lot of this illegal employment, start with DoorDash and Deliveroo and start delivering massive fines to them or other employers. Go into kebab shops, go into all the places where people work at the moment as illegal immigrants and they're paid cash or they're paid through some other means for some voucher system. Go after that. Don't come after the rest of us.
Now, he goes on to list several more. I'll go ahead. You know what I'll do is I'll retweet that. I'll repost that so that you can check it out on our X feed. Here we have this. Labor on digital IDs this morning. We're going to make sure everyone gets one.
I don't need
UK citizens will
if I don't?
will have to have one. Well, the plan is that we're going to roll this out by the end of
No,
Parliament.
my question is what if I don't? What if I've got my job, so I don't need to show this to anyone. So what if I just don't do it?
So if you don't have one, then you'll have a problem if you want to get a new job.
No, I'm saying I'm not doing that. So I'm not seeking a job. So why should I get the digital ID card? Why do I do it?
Well,
Is there some fine for not doing it? Is there an incentive to do it? I'm just thinking I've got no reason to do it.
Yeah, look, this isn't a heavy-handed approach. We're not planning to go around finding people. But what we are going to do is make sure that everybody's got one. In the same way, Charlie, as you've got a national insurance number, if you're a citizen of this country, we'll make sure that everybody has a digital ID.
So help me with this. I know we're plotting through this, but everyone watching who's got a job has got a national insurance number. So when these digital ID cards exist, if I just go to my employer and show them my national insurance number, is that not sufficient? Are they being precluded from employing me?
It won't be sufficient. I just want to be really clear about that.
So they can't employ people unless they've seen one of these
a digital ID.
cards.
Yes, that's right. That is the plan. UK citizens will
if I don't?
will have to have one. Well, the plan is that
no one will be able to buy or sell. Here is Nigel Farage.
Illegal. So the Prime Minister says we must have digital ID. That's the way we'll stop illegal immigration. Well, think about it. Germany has ID cards, strict ID and checks. It's made no difference at all in Germany, and nor will it here. All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population, of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel, to do various things? Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it hell? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else. I also worry about massive data banks being held by the government, being hacked by foreign governments, by private companies, by criminals. I do not see a single benefit to the government having digital ID other than them controlling what we do, what we spend, and where we go. And we, in Reform, are wholly opposed to it in every single way.
And everybody in the UK should. Okay, where's the Bill Gates clip? We've got a Bill Gates clip here. Check this out. This was posted October 21st of 2024. Well, now you know what Bill Gates was doing in number 10 Downing Street with Keir Starmer. Instructions. Vaccine passports, NHS digital passports, digital ID, call it what you want, but it all amounts to the same thing, a biometric digital wallet for a 24/7 surveillance state. This is October 21st of 2024. So that's when this was posted. The headline, Labour wants NHS passports for all patients despite privacy fears. Listen.
We need some sort of digital certificate. And of course, we need some sort of digital certificate because we're likely to say to people working in nursing homes or hospitals or maybe even schools that they need to authenticate that they've been vaccinated, and even travel will have some of that. So it's exciting that Pfizer did a great job, broke every record. And of course, we need some sort of digital certificate because...
I mean, there he is. He was working with them. I mean, people are speaking out. Here is every adult in the UK. A rollout was officially unveiled today. Digital IDs have officially arrived. Dylan Page.
Immigration is the Okay guys, breaking news, it's actually happening. So every adult in the UK will now be required to have a new government-issued digital ID. Why, you may ask? Well, apparently immigration is the reason. So this announcement is supposed to be made official tomorrow by Keir Starmer, and anyone starting a new job in the UK will be soon required to present that digital ID. Now, this is all because it's said to be helping illegal immigration, because those digital IDs would then be automatically checked checked against a central database that will see if you are legally allowed to work in the UK or not. Now, it probably should be noted that this has been a talking point in the UK for many years, but no government before has done this, one, because of massive public hesitancy around digital IDs, but also because of the big questions of whether this would even help the problem it's intended to help in the first place. There's also a lot of other concerns about privacy, about civil liberties, about potential cyber attacks, having access to all of that data. And then also the big question is that if it doesn't have the intended effect that it does, so it doesn't drop that UK small boat crisis, then will it be abolished? Will it be taken away? And if not, then why? So let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, it won't. Compulsory digital ID. Here's John O'Looney's open message to Keir Starmer.
History books. September the 25th, 2025, and a day that will forever remain in infamy in the British history books as Keir Starmer, the globalist puppet communist scumbag, announces his desire for digital ID and the fact that he's making it compulsory. So this is an open message to Keir Starmer. Let me tell you, Keir, as a man who has a British passport and a British driving licence and a registered British home address and is also on the electoral register, I'm never, ever, ever going to engage with your digital ID. You are the person deliberately importing these young men of fighting age into the UK using the Home Office and then sending the boats back to France for reuse. You're creating the problem to offer the solution. Order out of chaos, they call it, don't they? Well, this is an open video for you. Fuck you, Keir Starmer. I'm never going to engage with your digital ID. You can stick it up your arse. And if you want to send your Masonic thugs to come and get me, you know where I am. I've made it very open about who I am and where I am. I'm never going to do your digital ID, and I would urge everyone to take the same stand, because if you don't, this globalist communist scumbag is going to destroy your lives with digital ID, the digital currency that follows, and a digital prison. I think that's pretty obvious. And this is going to be as he continues to flood this country non-stop with young men of fighting age from a foreign land. To my mind, Keir Starmer is the terrorist threat, not the British people. And I will never engage in your digital ID. Fuck you, Keir Starmer.
Well, he certainly didn't mince any words. John O'Looney. Let's see. Is this his actual... Oh, yeah. That's a follow from me, man. That's a follow from me. Thanks, John. Appreciate your remarks. So this is where we're at right now. Problem, reaction, solution. Oh, here's another guy.
Thing coming. Digital IDs are now going to be officially announced. Apparently, you will have to have one to work in the UK. You'll be forced to have one. Well, let me tell you something. I will not have one. This is the hill to die on. We want freedom. This is not about left versus right. This is about you attempting to take away our freedoms. Keir Starmer, you've got another thing coming. You don't realise the level of resistance there is in this country. You don't realise the lengths that the UK people will go to when it comes to pushing back against your authoritarian, dystopian, Orwellian measures. It's not going to solve migration. You created a problem and then you proposed a solution, and we're not interested in your solution. This is just an opportunity for you to enforce your totally screwed up United Nations Agenda 2030. You're a puppet. You're useless. You are put in power because you are a submissive, emasculine failure of a man, a terrible leader. I would say the worst one this country has ever witnessed. So I will not listen to you and your mandates. I will not listen or obey your digital ID. We know this will be used for a social credit system. We know this is going to be an opportunity for top-down control from technocratic globalists. I will fight to my bitter end against this authoritarian, top-down, globalist, technocratic, dystopian, Orwellian fantasy that the likes of you, the United Nations, World Economic Forum, Tony Blair seem to want to put on the British public. We know your game and we will not play it.
Montgomery Toms, man. So where are we headed, folks? Is this it? Is this the mark of the beast system? Footsteps of the Antichrist? Sure feels like it. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is not some distant threat. It's happening right now. Britain just crossed the Rubicon into total surveillance. Keir Starmer's words should terrify every freedom-loving soul, no matter where you live. You will not be able to work without digital ID. That's not governance, that's control. When government decides who can earn a living based on compliance with their tracking system, we've entered the territory that Revelation warned about. The convergence is undeniable. Tony Blair's decades-long push, Bill Gates' secret meetings, biometric databases, work authorization tied to digital compliance, every element mirrors biblical prophecy. Whether you're a believer or just someone who values liberty, this precedent threatens all of us. And once implemented, there is no going back. So here's my question. Is Britain's mandatory digital ID, do you believe that it is the mark of the beast system? Drop a yes or a no. Tell us in the comments and stand for freedom. Grab your Liberty gear at our merch shop. It's linked down below. No digital ID required. Yeah. As soon as I heard it, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yep. Boom. Like, I'm a prophecy nut. Like, even when I was in my younger years, 17, 18 years old, reading all about the rapture, prophecy, like God put it on my heart to search the headlines and find the points that would track back to prophecy. Because the Lord gave us a mandate. He said, watch the signs of the season. He commanded us to do this because you don't know the hour nor the day, but there will be signs. That's the mandate. That's from Scripture. Now, we're going to move into our next topic right now because this is the next big story of the day. What we now are learning about January 6th, this is crazy. But we knew it to be true. So it shouldn't be really a shocker. We just now have the paperwork. For years, they called us conspiracy theorists. They mocked us. They censored us, threw patriots in solitary confinement while denying what we all saw. Well, today, the FBI's own documents destroy their narrative forever. 274 federal agents infiltrated the January 6th crowds. Not 10, not 50, 274. Now, these are not wild claims from anonymous sources. This comes from the Bureau's own after-action reports, hidden for years, finally dragged into daylight. Agents complained that they were used as political pawns. Whistleblowers confirmed thousands of hours footage remain hidden because they would expose undercover narratives. The Fedsurrection isn't a theory anymore. It is a documented fact. The evidence is overwhelming. Now, while 274 federal agents orchestrated January 6th, destroying innocent lives with their false flag operation, American families suffer under the regime's economic attacks. 1 in 4 low-income households now spend 15% of income on electricity, and it's by design. You see, they weaponized everything, including your power bills. Since 2022, rates skyrocket faster than inflation while they print money for Ukraine. Fight back with this little energy-saving device. It stabilizes electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, helps slash those politically inflated bills. Just plug it in, works instantly, and get a $100 utility rebate certificate as well. It's 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Stop funding their corruption. Order yours at don'twastepower.com. You'll find it linked down below. So the big breaking news coming out today. John Solomon reports the FBI sent 274 agents, most in plainclothes, dispatched to the Capitol on January 6th. The real bombshell? It uncorked years of internal frustration from agents who say the Bureau has been hijacked by political bias.
Tell how many agents were sent to the Capitol once the violence started there and the riot began. We got that answer because they did an after-action report at the FBI. Kash Patel recently found that after-action report, and it is damning. There were 275 FBI agents, most in plain clothes, without any riot gear or protection, dispatched to the Capitol that day. The reason there was an after-action review is that a lot of those agents felt like they were put in harm's way. They didn't have gear. They didn't have a way to identify themselves to the Capitol Police that they were cops. If they had to draw their gun, they could have had a friendly fire incident. And so that's an important fact. It's something that Congress needed for oversight, and Chris Wray's FBI kept it from it. But the more important issue, long-term, to all my colleagues in the FBI who have tried to dispute that the FBI has a political bias problem, this episode, this review, ended up exposing more than the fact that an incompetent FBI sent a lot of FBI agents to the Hill without gear and protections and then didn't want to admit that to Congress. It uncorked a decade of frustration among scores of FBI agents at the Washington field office that their agency had become clearly politically biased. Those aren't my words. Those are their words. The
agency politically biased. Not really a shocker, right? The FBI bombshell, 274 agents sent to Capitol for J6. Many later complained they were political pawns hidden for years. The after-action report of the FBI's involvement in the January 6th riot found by Director Patel shows dozens of agents feared the FBI had become woke and liberally biased. The FBI's internal after-action report on its involvement in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot was recently disclosed after being hidden for over 4 years. It details the deployment, 274 plainclothes FBI personnel to the Capitol grounds inside the building and related sites such as pipe bomb and truck explosive responses, along with agent complaints about safety, equipment training, and perceived political bias in the Bureau's handling of the event compared to 2020 riots. You can access the full report through the Just the News article that just published it. The FBI bombshell, 274 agents sent to Capitol for J6. Many later complained political pawns. Document obtained by the new FBI Director Kash Patel's team and turned over to the House Judiciary Committee and its weaponization subcommittee for their ongoing investigation into January 6 security failures. Here is the document itself. It says here, for public, for HJC use only, not for external dissemination. Well, apparently, it has now been disseminated to the public. And check this out. Let's check in with the PBD podcast. I love these guys.
The same khaki.
Yeah. All of us were aggressive and pushing it. Look at that. 200. What were 275 agents doing January 6th? Because there's videos of them that look like feds with a mask pack, breaking windows, breaking shit. It's like nothing. Everything that we said was we were right.
You are so right, Vinny. And by the way, I'll just add one thing to you. Yeah. Remember, you were always suspicious about the 40 khaki guys that would all wear the same khakis and they and the masks and the flags, and they would walk down the thing and like saying angry things trying to start riots. Guess what?
Look, Tom, look at this. Like, they brought the protesters. Look, give me some dap, agent. Thank you, bro. I did my job. What? Unbelievable. This is the same FBI, guys. They've been corrupt forever. And
what is this video? What is
this? This is in January 6th, Adam. They grabbed the guy that's a protester, and then they look at how nice they're treating this guy. Why would you let him go? Why would you let him go?
Because he's one of them, and they're fist bumping.
Exactly.
They were acting
What's that saying,
their
Tom?
own play.
The chickens have come home.
Did you see that? Did you see that that Fed protester? He taps the officer on his shoulder, like get him an attaboy. Watch.
Protester, and then they look at how nice they're treating this guy. Why would you let him go? Why would you let him go?
Because he's one of them, and they're fist bumping.
Exactly.
They were acting
What's that
in
saying,
their
Tom?
own play.
The chickens have come home to roost. How many times? You know, people say, I don't like to say I told you so. I actually do, because we.
Yep, I told you so. So whatever happened to the J6 pipe bombs? We still don't have answers to that. Alex Lay says, breaking 275 plainclothes FBI agents were planted in the crowd on January 6th. Which one planted the J6 pipe bombs? Remember this? George Hill, an FBI agent and whistleblower who worked at the FBI Washington, D.C. field office, testifies under oath. The FBI won't allow over 11,000 hours of J6 footage to be released because it would expose undercover agents and confidential human sources committing crimes inside the Capitol. Additionally, over 5,000 FBI agents were forced to fabricate charges against American citizens. Let's flash back to this moment when Matt Gaetz was a member of Congress in this hearing.
We're not starting cases. Christopher Wray indicated that there were no confidential informants and no FBI assets that were present at the Capitol on January 6th that were part of the violent riot. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Please. And so maybe Christopher Wray should be the next one, right? Lying to Congress. He could follow Comey. Wouldn't that be something? Back-to-back FBI directors indicted. Phew.
Play the video. We're now going to hear from George Hill, who worked at the Boston field office.
The SSA in Boston said they were going to a political rally, which is First Amendment protected activity. No, we're not uploading. We're not starting cases on these people. To which they said, well, we're going to call your SAC. And the SSA said, go right ahead, because when you're pushing back, you want to make sure that you have your six covered. So the SAC and the ASAC were intimately aware of these kinds of exchanges that were going on. And again, to his credit, Joe Bonavolonta said, no, we're not opening up cases on people who went to a rally. And I forgot a key part. The SSA for CT2 said, happy to do it. Show us where they were inside the Capitol, and we'll look into it. To which WFO said, we can't show you those videos unless you can tell us the exact time and place those individuals were inside the Capitol. To which the SSA responded back, and I was privy to these conversations firsthand. Why can't you show us? Why can't you just send us give us access to the 11,000 hours of video that's available? Because there may be UC's undercover officers or CHS's confidential human sources on those videos whose identity we need to protect.
So, Mr. Allen, you got retaliated against for saying the very thing that the Washington field office was telling Boston, when the Boston field office was saying, we're not going to go and investigate people that just showed up at a rally without sufficient criminal predicate. The Washington field office told Boston, well, you know what? We can't give you the evidence because it might disclose the very CIs and UCs that you are concerned about. But that doesn't surprise you, Mr. O'Boyle, does it?
No, sir.
And the reason it doesn't surprise you is that in a different part of the country, you saw that same pressure from the Washington field office. And did they ever try to get you to do something that was outside the normal order of law enforcement activity?
Yes, sir.
And what did the Washington field office try to get you to do that violated the law and regulations?
They tried to get me to serve a federal grand jury subpoena when there was no proper predicate to do so.
And the reason there was no predicate was because it was based on an anonymous tip, right?
That's correct.
And time and again, the Washington field office was trying to pressure you without corroboration to go start process on people. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And so
that's why I wish Matt Gaetz was still in Congress. Here's Steven Crowder. He writes, back in 2021, I said I suspected the feds had field agents in the J6 crowd. Now the FBI admits 274 plainclothes agents were there, years after the DOJ Inspector General reported none. The gap is not a typo, it's a cover-up. How many were there to watch? How many were planted to stir the pot?
Were actually there. Here's the thing, but
this is November 4th, 2021, Steven Crowder.
Have said, in the past that certain footage can't be released to protect the identity of agents in the field. This is my suspicion. Mm-hmm. If they've been filming all this time and they edited that and they're not releasing the January 6th tapes, probably have agents in the field. And so I would wager that just like with the Michigan kidnapping, January 6th, who knows how many field agents were actually there, right? Hundreds of thousands of people at the protests. What are we talking about? A few dozen, at most a couple hundred, who were invited in who were allowed in, given a tour, not saying they should ever have trespassed beyond when they were said, get out of here, but it wasn't trespassing when they were welcomed in.
Yeah, there's several videos showing police actually
but there's a lot of footage
telling them to come through.
And they don't want to show us footage.
Sure.
Do you think I'm way off base to think that probably a lot of field agents?
No, I think it's fine.
Probably a few Christmas glowworms. Here's the thing, but they have said, you know,
remarkable. He said it then, couple hundred. Here's some footage. News to share. Posting this. This is from J6. One caught here breaking into the Capitol, blaming it on a civilian, was never charged. His identity never released.
Do not go in there.
A radio journalist from Michigan was shooting video that day at the Capitol. What he captured were two, most charitably called, suspicious actors, but they are dressed in such a way that led him to believe that they were government agents. And one of them, after the windows had been broken by a protester, it was encouraging people to pull the rest of the glass out and go inside. Bobby Powell, who was the journalist that had shot it, and he has his camera rolling, he told him that would be illegal. And that wouldn't be a good idea. He warned people off not to go into that window. And then he turned his camera around and he caught this agent or suspicious actor pulling a large pane of glass out, this tempered glass. It kind of folds into itself, crunch onto the ground. And when he realized he was being filmed, he quickly dropped it. It seems apparent on the video that he did not want to be seen doing what he just did. So he pulled in a protester and started blaming him. He said, "What are you doing breaking that window?" The poor fellow that was being accused didn't know what was going on. And then he gave him a couple of really good shoves and cocked his arm like he was going to punch him. You know, we don't know. His facial image is not on any of the Sedition Hunters sites or the FBI's most wanted site, but he clearly was committing criminal damage to property, and he has not been charged. So it raises a question of why.
Also, the individual trying to, again, opening the window up is even encouraging people to enter, I believe, as well?
Yes.
What's he saying?
Well, he said, "Why don't y'all open the rest of it up?"
Why don't you guys open up the rest of it? Because I think that'd probably be illegal. Oh, I know my glasses.
Bobby Powell, tremendous work that day. And I do consider him a friend of the show. He reaches out to me time and time again. And I remember he was actually reaching out about this very video quite some time ago. Remarkable to see it here again, especially in the context of what we're disclosing today, this FBI bombshell. Donald Trump posting radical left Democrat scam. President Trump knows exactly what it is. Posting on Truth Social, the Just the News article, 274 agents sent to the Capitol for J6. Many later complained that they were political pawns. And speaking of pawns, I had the privilege of having an event with Stuart Rhodes just a couple days ago. And this event was actually canceled once because radical leftists in the area tried to get it shut down, and they were successful at one venue. And then the Three-Headed Eagle Alliance, who was hosting, found a second venue, and then somehow it was leaked, and then that venue shut down. A third venue was selected. I was talking with the organizers all day. While they're even setting up at the third venue, I could hear the sound checks going on in the background, thinking, okay, everything's fine. The event will go on. I spoke at the event and hosted a panel discussion. That third venue gets canceled, and eventually they hosted, they found a church. A patriot pastor stepped up and opened up his church for the Three-Headed Eagles so that Stuart Rhodes' voice could be heard. Ironically, the group that was trying to cancel Stuart Rhodes said that on their own website that all voices should be heard. All voices. And when I exposed their website for showing 8647 on the main picture on their website shows a whole bunch of protesters down Main Street. And on the right side of the picture, there's a protester holding up a sign that says 8647. And following this event, I decided I would go check that website. And sure enough, they've already cropped that off. So they saw my report. They know I called them out. And anyway, here is my post-event interview with Stuart Rhodes that evening.
Yeah, and
he's got
Franchi here.
He's got some really big news to break here as well. So pay attention.
Geneva, Illinois, with Stuart Rhodes. We just got back from an event that had been canceled. How many times?
3 prior times.
3 prior times. Now, initially, we'd done a report on Next News Network when the event was first announced, and we found out that there was a group that is in this locale who was trying to cancel the event. All right, I went and investigated the group. They had horrific visuals on their website that said 8647. We all know what that means. So they ended up actually canceling the first event. And then the second venue ended up, which was supposed to happen today.
Another country club. So the first country club canceled about a week ago. And then today, the second country club that was going to let us have an event also canceled after pressure from leftists. And so we went and found a third venue today, which we thought was an awesome venue. And then apparently they got visited in person by leftists, and that was also canceled. But what man means for evil, God will use for good. We ended up at an awesome church with an awesome modern Black Robe Regiment Patriot pastor, and it was a fantastic event. So in the end, it was the best venue for us.
And so they tried to cancel this man for speaking. Now, on their own website, they say everyone is inclusive, and it's the typical leftist jargon that all voices should be heard. But there was something about Stuart Rhodes' voice that they didn't want this neighborhood to learn about. And in fact, they went as far as to hold a protest in front of the First Country Club. Now, the event was hosted by the Three-Headed Eagle Alliance, which I'm proud to say I was one of their very first speakers at their inaugural event. And they were using a country club locally here for years. And then now that they've actually been banned from that country club indefinitely because they dare have Stuart Rhodes show up.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's the same kind of nonsense that we faced through the entire Trump administration. They ended up jumping the shark and accusing all MAGA of being, racist and anti-democratic and a threat to democracy and fascist. This is complete garbage. It's the same kind of garbage. Like one of the last venues, the last country club was told that I was a white supremacist. I'm a quarter Mexican. My mom grew up picking grapes in California as a migrant farm worker in a Mexican-American family. It's just complete garbage. And so it's all they have. They're a broken record, and they accuse everyone of being a Nazi. And after a while, no one that has a rational mind believes any of it. But they've been so victimized by the propaganda from the left that I think they actually might believe it. They might believe their own bullshit.
Now, when you had contacted me, like, Gary, we got to find another venue. I reached out to the organizers, tried to throw some ideas out there. Right. You had mentioned Antifa was shutting it down, and that was your instinct.
Yeah. So we had heard that Antifa is doing protests against ICE in West Chicago. And so our concern was that it might be also Antifa coming over, intimidating the venue. We don't really know, but it's the same thing across the entire left. It's frankly brainwashed people that I consider victims. They're victims of the brainwashing themselves. And it's the same attitude that Charlie Kirk had when he went on the college campuses. He was there to hopefully reach out and help to deprogram these college kids who have been brainwashed by their communist professors. So that's how I see a lot of people on the political left. I don't hate them. I see them as victims. I see them as the sad victims of the brainwashing. Like I said, a lot of them actually believe their TDS is sincere. They believe that Trump's a Nazi and Hitler, and they believe that we're all fascists. And so, all we can do is speak truth and just drive on. That's what we did. Never give up, never give in, never let them shut you down. I think it's pathetic, though, that country clubs like that let themselves be silenced and let themselves be dishonored. or dishonor themselves by canceling events. They should stand up for free speech and say, hey, this is a venue. We take anybody who wants to speak. It's free speech. That's what they should do. But they crumbled. But thankfully, we found a fantastic church, and in the end, it's where we should be in God's house anyway.
Amen. What was your final takeaway from the event?
It was very successful. So like I said, once again, what man means for evil, God will use for good. By doing that, all they did is drive us into an even better venue. So thanks again to all the Antifa and radical leftists that canceled the country club. I'm much more comfortable in a church with a patriot pastor than some fancy country club anyway. I don't like golf. I actually detest golf. So I don't want to be at a country club in the first place.
Now, how can people support you and the work that you're now restarting again?
Yes, I'm relaunching Oath Keepers. After the flood down in Texas, I was there for over a month doing disaster relief along with Doc Pete Chambers, a Special Forces veteran, and his guys. And then after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think it's more critical than ever to have Oath Keepers again, both for disaster relief but also for security. We need to have good, strong security. If my security team had been on the job that day, I think he'd still be around, because we put guys on the rooftop as a default, as anyone who knows our history knows. I always have guys up high. I'm an infantry veteran, so I always take the high ground. So point being, though, I think that going in the future, while we want to go out there and talk to people like Charlie Kirk did, we never want to forsake anybody. We us conservatives and constitutionalists and libertarians, we need to take our security very serious. So I'm restarting Oath Keepers for those purposes, as well as to educate the current serving military and police about their responsibility to defend the Constitution. And so if you want to support me in that effort and that mission, please go to my Give Send Go. It's givesendgo.com, GAF5B, so it's Golf Alpha Foxtrot 5 Bravo phonetically. And you can help me by supporting me with some donations and help me relaunch the organization, which the left, of course, will absolutely hate. Their heads are going to spin off, but that's okay. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. Stuart, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you again. And God bless President Trump for setting us free on January 20th, 2025.
Amen. And we got to get the full pardon now.
Absolutely. I got a commutation. I'm still very grateful to him. But yes, I want a full pardon, restore me to my rights. My veterans benefits have all been stripped from me. And in fact, I was told by the VA that I can no longer be buried in Veterans Cemetery, which is a great insult to us veterans. And there are I believe there's 7 of us veterans like that were commuted, not pardoned. All the other Oath Keepers are proud boys, and we all deserve a pardon. Absolutely.
Gary.
So that was my interview with Stuart Rhodes. Remarkable. We'll put a link in the description so you can support him. So, big breaking news today. What we suspected all along, even this, Clay Higgins was all over Chris Wray, accusing the FBI of having ghost buses to transport FBI agents dressed as Trump supporters to the Capitol. He says, your day will come, Christopher Wray. And considering the indictment of Comey, it appears as though Wray was lying to Congress as well, so maybe he's on that list too.
Part of some operation.
He said he was communicating with his FBI handler while people were entering the U.S. Capitol. Can you confirm that the FBI had that sort of engagement with your own agents embedded into the crowd on January 6th?
If you are asking whether the violence at the Capitol on January 6th was part of some operation orchestrated by FBI sources and or agents, the answer is emphatically
You're saying
not. No.
You're saying no?
Not
okay.
Violence orchestrated by FBI sources or agents.
Are you familiar with you know what a ghost vehicle is? Director of the FBI certainly should. You know what a ghost bus is?
A ghost bus?
Ghost bus.
I'm not sure I've used that term before.
Okay. Well, it's pretty common in law enforcement. It's a vehicle that's used for secret purposes. It's painted over. These 2 buses in the middle here, they were the first to arrive at Union Station on January 6th, 0500. I have all this evidence. I'm showing you a tip of this iceberg.
Mr. Chairman.
These 2 buses
Mr.
are
Chairman.
painted completely white.
Point of order.
Point of order. Sure.
Just run over the time.
I understand, but you'll recall that Ms. Jackson Lee's been allowed to go 2 minutes before. I've been very fair in letting people finish their questioning throughout my tenure as chairman, and I'll continue to be fair on that regard. But I will make a note to the members, if you could stay as close within your time as possible. We have a lot of people that want to ask these gentlemen questions. So with that, the gentleman yields. But your point, I've been very fair in this, Mr. Ivey, with everybody on this side of the aisle just as much.
I don't think I accuse you of being unfair, Mr. Chairman.
You're making a point. Okay, thank you. I now recognize Now recognize Mr.
May I
Gray.
close this statement, Mr.
No,
Chairman?
I think your time is expired, Mr.
I note that other members across the aisle have been granted time, and I object to my question being closed. This is a very significant hearing, Mr. Chairman, and these buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters. And deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th. Your day is coming,
Major
Mr. Ray.
point, Mr. Higgins. I now
He said he was
Day
communicating
is
with.
coming. I think we have one more here. Thomas Massey. Once again, the conspiracy theorists were right.
Are assets of the. It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago. When I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
Add Merrick Garland to the list.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out, and the day.
I mean, as long as we're indicting people for lying to Congress, I think we've got 2 candidates right here.
By the way, that was in reference to Ray Epps, and yesterday you indicted him. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence? On a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you're sending grandmas to prison. You're putting people away for 20 years for merely filming. Some people weren't even there yet. You got the guy on video who's saying go into.
Yeah, Stuart Rose wasn't even there on January 6th. Yet they indicted him and put him in prison in solitary confinement for seditious conspiracy.
The Capitol. He's directing people to the Capitol before the speech ends. He's at the site of the first breach. You've got all the goods on him, 10 videos, and it's an indictment for a misdemeanor? The American public isn't buying it. I yield the balance of my time to Chairman Jordan.
May I answer the question?
I'm going to ask you one now. We'll let the gentleman.
Yeah.
Go ahead, but
in discovery, in the cases that were filed with respect to January 6th, the Justice Department prosecutors provided whatever information they had about the question that you're asking. With respect to Mr. Epps, the FBI has said that he was not an employee or informant of the FBI. Mr. Epps has been charged, and there's a proceeding, I believe, going on today on that subject.
The charge is a joke. I yield to the chairman.
The charge is a joke. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this changes everything. For 4 years, Americans rotted in prison, lost their jobs, had their lives destroyed, like Stuart Rhodes. He didn't even walk in through those doors. Okay? Others did walk through those doors that federal agents actually helped to open. Grandmothers in solitary confinement, while 274 government operatives walked free. The FBI didn't just witness January 6th, they orchestrated it. They embedded assets, guided crowds, possibly even planted pipe bombs. Then they hid the evidence while prosecuting the victims of their own operation. This is bigger than Watergate. This is the weaponization of federal law enforcement against the American people. They turned patriots into political prisoners while the real conspirators collected government paychecks. The agents themselves admitted they were used as pawns. And the footage they're hiding would expose their whole operation. So here's my question. Should every J6 defendant be immediately released and compensated? Yes or no? Let your voice be heard in the comments and show where you stand. Get your Patriot gear at our merch shop. It's linked down below. All right, Todd, if you can make a note in post-show document that we need to include the link to Stuart Rhodes' GoFundMe That would be great. All right, and speaking of infiltration, we've got another bombshell for you guys. This is a follow-up. Wait till you see this. Especially what just happened to the Broadview ICE facility today, Broadview, Illinois. Vicky, released and compensated, absolutely. Sparky's Run, they're all traitors. Enrique Tarrio got 22 years despite being in a different state entirely. Ray Epps received a year probation for inciting the riot, telling people to attack the Capitol, all on film. Wow. Restore the Smith-Mundt Act. The deep state goes so deep, just overpowering the lawfare will make everything take another 250 years. Let's hope not. After years of watching black-clad anarchists terrorize our cities, burn businesses, assault innocent Americans, and coordinate nationwide violence, well, President Trump, well, he's just dropped the hammer. The executive order, now officially signed, Antifa officially designated a domestic terrorist organization, but that's only the beginning. This designation triggers federal powers that will expose something far more sinister than street riots. Dr. Carolyn Borisenko went undercover for 3 weeks in their training camps. What she discovered will chill you to the bone. In this week's Dallas ICE facility shooter, connected to something much bigger. The terror label just opened doors into classified intelligence, financial records, and names that will shock America. And what you're about to learn reveals their next horrifying move. And you need to tell somebody. So keep watching. And while Antifa terrorists coordinate economic warfare through teacher union strikes plotting to collapse our economy, hardworking families already struggle under their allied regime's policies. 1 in 4 low-income households spend 15% of income on electricity, while anarchists plan nationwide shutdowns. Since 2022, rates exploded faster than inflation. Economic terrorism by design. Protect yourself with this energy-saving device. Stabilizes your electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, helps slash bills, weaponized against you. Plug it in, works instantly against their economic assault, and get your $100 utility rebate certificate. Now this is only 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Don't let the terrorists win. Order yours at don'twastepower.com today. Now, Terry Newsom sent me this video earlier today, and it's fitting because we have terrorists attacking a Broadview ICE facility. Wait, I want you to listen very carefully at this moment. You see, they're right here. They are bringing somebody in that they have just arrested. It looks like they've erected some new barriers. But listen carefully.
They just drop out balls.
They're asking, why is he being arrested? He said he was carrying a gun. Think about that. In light of that shooter that opened fire on the ICE facility in Texas, now we have Broadview, Illinois, somebody caught with a gun at the facility, arrested promptly. Listen again, listen carefully. Carrying a gun at an ICE facility. Here's even more from Terry. While at the Broadview ICE Center, I caught peaceful Chicago Marxist protesters shouting, "Shoot ICE and kill ICE."
At the same time, I just left the Broadview ICE Center, and you'll see these peaceful protesters are chanting or yelling, shoot ICE, kill ICE, arrest ICE, but at the same time, they're yelling at the agents as they're approaching areas where they told them not to approach, that they're peaceful protesters, while they're at the same time saying, shoot ICE.
Arrest ICE! Arrest ICE! Arrest ICE! Shoot ICE! Shoot ICE! Shoot the fucker! Shoot the fucker!
Yeah, you heard that, right?
I just left the bro.
That's what they're screaming. As you know, we uncovered a money trail this week. A couple days ago, we posted this thread. I'm not going to go into great detail, but the money trail behind Antifa, behind all of these domestic terror attacks on the United States, all trace back to Soros and this group. $80 million. They found it. The funding of Antifa terror groups in the crosshairs. I want to make sure we give credit to the individuals. Capital Research Center, their report reveals Soros Open Society Foundation funneled over $80 million since 2016 into groups that train militants, glorify Hamas, October 7th massacre, and sponsor domestic sabotage. You can go back and check the channel for the full report on that. But it's all connected. It's all connected. Trump, of course, crushing the Antifa threat. As you know, President Trump has signed an executive order declaring Antifa a domestic terror group. Dr. Carolyn B., anti-communist cult leader who's been exposing their true goals for years, the gloves are finally off. So this is another thread we just posted. And I want to make sure we give credit where credit's due because she's doing absolutely amazing work. Antifa's violent goal exposed clearly. Trump's order states Antifa is a militarist anarchist movement bent on overthrowing our government, law enforcement, and the rule of law. Even Fox News discussions predicted this exact line. And Trump listened. Let's check in with Dr. Carolyn.
Hey, I've got to give... Let's see what Trump's executive order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization actually says.
Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law.
You know what? Hey, I've got to give it to Trump right off the bat. Is it possible? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Is it possible that this line is in the executive order because I said it on Fox News? Is that possible? Do you guys remember when Jesse Waters asked me what is the goal of Antifa? And I explicitly said the goal of Antifa is to overthrow the federal government. And now in the very first line of the Trump executive order, they're saying Antifa calls for the overthrow of the federal government. Is it fucking possible that I did that?
Congratulations.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, I'll take it, Trump. Okay.
Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. This campaign involves coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement of federal laws through armed standoffs with law enforcement, organized riots, violent assaults on immigration and customs enforcement and other law enforcement officers, and routine doxing of and other threats against political figures and activists.
I'm loving this so far. Let's see what Trump's executive order designates.
Okay, we're going to dig deeper. Recruitment and secrecy fully revealed. The order details how Antifa radicalizes youth, conceals funding, hides operatives, and coordinates with allies to crush free speech. This is organized domestic terror by design, and Trump nailed it in Section 1.
To shield.
I'm loving this so far.
Antifa recruits, trains, and radicalizes young Americans to engage in this violence and suppression of political activity, then employs elaborate means and mechanisms to shield the identities of its operatives, conceal its funding sources and operations in an effort to frustrate law enforcement and recruit additional members.
Yes.
Individuals
true.
associated with and acting on behalf of Antifa further coordinate with other organizations and entities for the purpose of spreading, fomenting, and advancing political violence and suppressing lawful political speech. This organized effort designed to achieve policy objectives by coercion and intimidation is domestic terrorism.
Hey, listen, I think we're off to a strong start with the first section. Everything they said in the first section is right. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised and shocked to see that everything in the first section of this is correct. That makes me much more hopeful than I was 48 hours ago. I'm loving this so far.
Antifa recruits, trains.
Now, this thread continues to break down the executive order that President Trump signed. And, of course, it is about time. Because you have groups like this outside of ICE facilities carrying guns, especially in light of what happened this week. Here's more. Here's Karen. She posted this 6 days ago. She says, arrest all Antifa. She's calling it what it is. This is the same Broadview facility.
ICE! How do you spell racism? ICE! How do you spell fascism? ICE! How do you spell fascism? ICE! How do you spell racism? You're on video! Shame on you! Put him down! We know! Shame on you!
Well, if you mess around, you are going to find out. I want to get to where she was talking about. Okay, here she is on Jesse Waters. This is September 19th. This is what she was talking about.
These terrorists. Harlan Borisenko is an undercover investigative journalist for Decode the Left who's infiltrated these terror cells. Carlin, tell me about how these people train. They look pretty militaristic.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have sessions where they bring in people with military experience. Anti-war is a very big thing for Antifa, so they do hand-to-hand combat trainings. I was just undercover with them in New York City over the weekend where they had a whole self-defense class where they were teaching people how to violently, confront the police, but also defend themselves if they needed to be put in that position.
And why do they always get out of jail so quickly? You see all these people get popped, they get bailed right out, and charges never stick. How is that?
Well, Antifa, actually, they train people on how to get arrested. And it's interesting with far left subcultures because they actually volunteer to get arrested and go through this type of training where they are provided legal support, they are provided lawyers, they are provided all of this stuff with mutual aid. And so as soon as they get arrested, Antifa basically goes down to the jail and they bail them out and they are all set up with a lawyer and ready to go. So they plan all this stuff out ahead of time and they have the resources set up for people to be able to be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously someone's paying for their legal representation. What is the core mission of Antifa? Is it anarchy? Are they anarchists?
Yeah, Antifa are anarchists. Their primary goal is the violent overthrow of the federal government. I cannot emphasize this enough. We've been hearing a lot of talk about civil war over the last couple of years between Democrats and Republicans, red versus blue. I firmly believe that the real civil war we have coming is the radical revolutionary socialists and communists in Antifa versus the federal government. That is their goal. That is their only goal. And people need to start taking this problem very, very seriously.
Harlan Borisenko.
And of course, President Trump is taking it seriously now. I'll get to the shooter, the ICE shooter, in a second. Her take on that, but I think this is really probably the most important point we need to make here: that the Democrat Socialists of America are planning to use the teachers' unions to cripple the economy by going on strike. Hear them say it. In this exclusive clip as part of the SALT training that she attended for 3 weeks, where they put socialists in jobs to agitate from within the unions. Now, we covered some of her investigation into the SALT training in a previous report. You can find that in detail on the channel. But this is actually quite terrifying. when you think about what the teachers unions can do, and then when they seed those teachers unions with people with this ideology.
You will be.
And then what their goal
we
is.
have all seen that, teachers unions are really strong, and it's also DSA's biggest industry. So there's a lot of overlap between socialists and teachers, and hopefully more soon. Basically, when teachers go on strike, it's as if every single parent at their job is also going on strike because they can't go to work.
Your exchanges with students can help shape a generation of critical thinkers and political actors. You will be a key source for how many young Americans come to perceive the world around them. You may even have the opportunity to teach about social justice and liberation history. And crucially, for organizers, your political work doesn't end at the classroom door.
We as socialists need to build a militant minority of class-conscious teachers that can move our unions in a more militant and democratic direction. Like I said, my name's Shayna. I'm right now an assistant teacher in Oakland Public Schools at an elementary school, and looking to get my credential next year to be a full classroom teacher. So we just heard from Ira a bit about some of the reasons why teaching is a really strategic and important industry for socialists to organize in. Right now, we're going to look at some quotes from this pamphlet called Why Socialists Should Become Teachers. Maybe many of you have seen it. It's kind of well known in DSA and why DSA. It was a joint publication written by some teachers coming out of some, big teacher strikes in the last 10 years. And of course, I think we have all seen that, teachers unions are really strong, and it's also DSA's biggest industry. So there's a lot of overlap between socialists and teachers, and hopefully more soon.
Our strategic power is made possible not only by our location in the economy and in civil society, but by our size. Education is a sizable institution in nearly every town, county, and city in the country. When teachers take job action or strike, it has enormous consequences for the district. Administrators either have to staff the buildings, which is difficult or impossible, especially with workers of similar skill and training, or they have to close the schools, forcing parents to call out from work or arrange alternate care. Of course, this disruption can also make parents feel that teachers are holding them hostage. While this has happened in the past, if parents are organized and feel an investment in the struggle, the framing of teachers as greedy becomes ineffective.
Basically, when teachers go on strike, it's as if every single parent at their job is also going on strike because they can't go to work. And this is especially obviously with younger kids. Maybe high schoolers can stay home by themselves, but district strike on a district-wide level. So when all of these kids are out of school, it has almost double the effect as normal because the teachers are already on strike, and that is, getting them what they need in their contract. But also all these other workers, which are the parents, are unable to work. And so, as Arla said earlier, it really shuts down the whole economy of a local city when the district goes on strike.
It's likely that you've had at least one teacher who shaped your perspective, changed your worldview, or inspired you. You could be that person for your students. No matter what subject or grade you teach, your exchanges with students can help shape a generation of critical thinkers and political actors. You will be a key source for how many young Americans come to perceive the world around them. You may even have the opportunity to teach about social history. And crucially, for organizers, your political work doesn't end at the classroom door. Your interactions and shared struggle with coworkers can be just as fulfilling.
We as socialists need to build a militant minority of class-conscious teachers that can move our unions in a more militant and democratic direction. This direction, steered from the shop floor, should aim to make universal demands that bear on the lives of the working class at large. So this is kind of a big summary of everything that we've been reading and that Ira mentioned earlier, but militant means that workers are willing to take action, to go on strike, or to do what they need to do to win a strong contract. That is a pervasive attitude. So socialists being the militant minority, meaning, if there's one socialist at each school in a district.
So the plan here is very clear. They want to use the teachers' unions to shut down the schools and then, in effect, shut down the parents, having a twofold effect. When teachers go on strike, it is a headache for parents. But these people are actively working to salt those unions with individuals who are willing to take it to this level, to force the situation, to disrupt your life. Here's the point she makes. Now, this is 2 days ago. It's confirmed that Joshua Yan is the shooter at the ICE facility in Dallas this morning, 2 days ago. And we now know he is part of Antifa. Here are the receipts.
I have to be honest. I'm Carlin Borisenko. I'm an analyst and independent journalist covering the far left in America. And breaking news, the shooter at the ICE facility in Dallas is confirmed to be Joshua John. And we have confirmed that Joshua John is indeed a revolutionary communist that is a member of Antifa. And I'm going to show you the evidence. Now, when I first saw Joshua's picture today, I have to be honest, I said to myself, that is exactly what I would expect a member of Antifa to look like, but we don't want to go on looks alone. And then this profile of John surfaced with what appears to be a communist photo. And when we zoom in, yep, that's pretty communist. That's pretty communist right there. I did question if this was real, and it does look like it did come from Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer might be crazy, but she is great for research and information like this. So it is confirmed that the ICE shooter is indeed a member of Antifa, because Antifa is the militant, violent arm of the far left. If you want more, you can follow my work over on Substack, Carlin, KARLYN.substack.com. I'm Carlin Borisenko. I'm an analyst in...
President Trump, of course, taking full action against Antifa. She writes, share this video. If you agree with me, we should put Antifa in Alcatraz. It's time for concentration camps to make a comeback, she says, to house the far left so they are wandering free in the world to organize. I wonder what's being said in this video.
Wish anyone who supported...
Because that's the step, right? We're talking about fascism. If you have a full-on fascist situation, the Democratic Party becomes illegal, right? And anyone who supports it is potentially thrown in a camp. We're not there yet.
I was going to say, I was like...
I fucking wish anyone who supported the left was thrown in a camp. I wish... Can we make this dream a reality, except have it be far more than just the Democratic Party, please? Because I'm not even that worried about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is imploding. I don't care about them at all. They're boring. Like I would like everyone to the left of the Democratic Party to be thrown into a camp. One in the chat if you would like everyone to the left of the Democratic Party to be thrown into a camp. Two in the chat if you do not want to throw everyone to the left of the Democratic Party into a camp. I just want to get a pulse check here. One in the chat if you would be okay with throwing every single person to the left of the Democratic Party in a camp. Two in the chat if you're just fine with them roaming around in public. Yeah. Again, we...
Yeah, I guess we could take that poll here, too. What do you guys think? Certainly, there needs to be accountability. If you got value in this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So the designation changes the game entirely. For years, Antifa operated as the Democrats' street army, burning cities during mostly peaceful protests while media ran cover. They assaulted journalists, elderly people, anyone wearing red hats. Portland became a war zone. Seattle had its autonomous zone. Now they're officially terrorists, and federal resources can dismantle their networks, freeze funding, and prosecute supporters. Now, her undercover work exposed their plan to use teachers' strikes to collapse our economy. The Dallas ICE shooter proved that they've graduated from riots to assassination attempts. These are not protesters. They are organized domestic enemies using violence for political goals. That is terrorism, plain and simple. President Trump has kept his promise. The black bloc cowards who hide behind masks while attacking innocent Americans now face the full weight of federal law enforcement. So here is my question. Should anyone funding Antifa face terror support charges? Yes or no? Sound off below and show your colors by grabbing some American badass gear from our merch shop linked below. Man, she does great work. She really does. I have been messaging her back and forth on X, which is super cool. I like it when people that I follow actually communicate, especially in the work that we do, because we need to have people communicating. That's how we win, when we work together. So we're going to get into some new territory here. Let's see. All right. No new super chats to speak of. We're $45, and we're in the last. What? The bandwidth is going bad. Uh-oh. It's about time to research the problem. Lock him up, says Sue. Gary, always. What's up, ahead? John, you feel close to God because I do. Cambodia needs peace. Zeus. Tamara Jennings. Agree. Lock him up. All right. Hopefully this will kind of clear up if we kind of give it a minute. I hate it when this happens. We have... No. And, no, there shouldn't be anything that would be causing this. Doesn't this usually happen when the software that we use, the cloud service we use, gets, I don't know, bogged down? Mm-hmm. Whoa. Whoa. Alice Cersei. Wow. $49.99. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, we are now just $5 away from our goal for the evening. It's Friday, guys. Come on. Let's have some fun. All right, looks like it's cleared up, Brian. Hopefully it'll hold out. Zechariah 12:3 declares, "In that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Though all the people of the earth, through all the people of the earth will be gathered against it." Though, sorry, you know what? Let me take that back because I totally screwed up. I'm reading it wrong. Though all the people. Yes, okay, my bad. Take two. Gary, get your scripture right. All right, let's go. Can't you read, Franchi? All right. Zechariah 12:3 declares, "In that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it." Well, today at the United Nations, that prophecy materialized before our eyes. Diplomats fled Netanyahu's speech like rats abandoning ship. Empty chairs where world leaders should stand with democracy's lone Middle East outposts. The same nations that wept for Holocaust victims now abandon their descendants. From college campuses chanting "From the river to the sea" to European streets funded by Nazi fortune heirs, the world unites against Israel exactly as prophesied. The spiritual significance is undeniable, so keep watching. And as nations abandon Israel and prophecy unfolds, the same anti-God forces attack your family's economic survival. 1 in 4 low-income households sacrifice 15% of income for electricity while globalists orchestrate world betrayal. Since 2022, they've weaponized energy costs, rising faster than inflation, part of their broader assault on Judeo-Christian civilization. You can fight back with this energy-saving device that stabilizes electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, helps lower bills designed to break you. Just plug it in, instantly resist their economic persecution. Get your $100 utility rebate certificate. This is 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Stand with truth. You can get your order at don'twastepower.com. So I saw the video today. The very first thing that came to my mind is that in the last days, they will turn against Israel. The whole world. It's almost as if the prophet Zechariah was shown this vision.
Please, order in the hall. Please, order in the hall.
The whole world you just saw right there turning against Israel, exactly as the prophet stated. Here's a shot of the Colombian delegation from the floor walking out on Netanyahu. You can hear the chants in the background, free, free Palestine. She walks out with a raised fist, looks over her shoulder to make sure that she's still being recorded. It's all theatrics, but it's all biblical. Now, that did not deter Netanyahu. He went on to speak directly to the hostages and to Hamas, saying, "Lay down your arms, let my people go." I think we've got another one here. Here, look at this. Dozens of delegates. This is another angle. We're going to get to some of his remarks in a moment. Dozens of delegates left the United Nations. Here, look at it all. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So there he is. He's approaching the podium. I've never seen this at the UN ever.
Please, order in the hall. Please, order in the hall. Please, order in the...
I mean, tell me that's not a fulfillment of prophecy. There was a post here that really made an interesting point with respect to what he said. Okay. Netanyahu compares Palestinian state to Al-Qaeda near New York City.
1 mile from giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7th is like giving Al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11th. This is sheer madness. It's insane, and we won't do it. Giving the Palestinians...
He continued to give his remarks. Check this out. Okay, this is actually what I wanted to play. Netanyahu announces Israeli intelligence is streaming this speech live to every Gazan and Hamas phone, and he has a message.
I now say, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to special efforts by Israeli intelligence, my words are now also being carried. They're streamed live to the cell phones of Gazans. So to the remaining Hamas leaders and to the jailers of our hostages, I now say, lay down your arms. Let my people go. Free the hostages, all of them, the whole 48. Free the hostages now.
The hall is empty.
If you do, you will live. If you don't, Israel will hunt you down.
So, Israeli intelligence beaming that message. But this, what happened at the United Nations, is really part of a larger trend that we've seen lately of the fulfillment of this prophecy. We have seen actions here from the river to the sea. Palestine will live forever. Protesters supporting Palestine and opposing Trump's cancellation of the immigration status for Palestine supporters gathered west of the U.S. Capitol in an event separate from the anti-Trump event on the National Mall. So some of those chants you heard in the United Nations Hall. Here, Laura Loomer, October 29th, 2024. Outside of Kamala Harris' D.C. Ellipse rally, Democrats are screaming, "Israel, go to hell." So there's a massive movement underway right now. Clearly, it has been written. And that's truly what I believe. Here is Florence. Kamika Rosa writes, Florence knows which side to be on. Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Erupting worldwide, reaching the United Nations. Libercrat posting this on March 18th. Imagine chanting from the river to the sea, and when asked which river and sea, you don't even know.
You guys chanted from the river to the sea?
Yes.
Okay, which river, which sea?
The sea of...
So you don't know that? Okay.
No.
The answer was the Mediterranean and the Jordan. You guys chanted from the river to the sea?
Yes.
Okay, which river?
Yeah, how many of these people even know what they're chanting about? But anti-Semitism rapidly on the rise, concerned citizen writing. This is in England, manifesting itself in a real-life action as these Englishmen find it funny to drive around the streets spraying Jews with water guns. I mean, just laughing at it. Here, Drama Alert writes, Hassan Piker attacked for the D.C. shooting by the ADL's head. Quote, this gamer Hassan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against the Jewish people and the Jewish state. I don't even know who this guy is. He's just recently come on my radar. Apparently, I guess he's a gamer.
We've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people and the Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But
I mean, he's calling for deplatforming. Of course, that would be the ADL for you. Following Mangaka, anti-Semitism comes from both sides, they write. The American right blames Jewish conspiracy for globalism, communism, BLM, and LGBT activism. The American left wants Israel exterminated off the face of the map because they're white colonialists. It's tiring. But that just proves the point that this biblical prophecy is coming to pass. That's really the point of this message. I'm not like advocating either way here. The point I'm making is that this is the culmination of these protests reaching the United Nations. And I'm getting some serious Zechariah 12:3 vibes. I mean, I really don't know how much further I could go into this, but here. This is another example. Maureen Engelhorn, one of the major organizers of the anti-Israeli protests in Europe. Her wealth comes from her great-grandfather, Frederick Engelhorn, who made his fortune from producing Zyklon B, the gas used by the Nazis to murder Jews during the Holocaust. Well, isn't that interesting? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So I just want to bring this to your attention because prophecy is something that I love to follow. And this was the first thing that came to my attention, to my mind. I mean, my spirit was woken up by that moment, by that scripture, by that visual today. I mean, who can forget what happened outside Washington, D.C.? Chicago man Elias Rodriguez, the suspect arrested over the deadly shooting at the Capitol Jewish Museum, killed 2 Israeli embassy staff in D.C. And here's his arrest.
Outside! No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free!
So, I mean, he's chanting the exact same thing they were chanting in the United Nations, what they're chanting on the streets of Washington, D.C., what they're chanting in Florence, what they're chanting all over the world. Again, another example of how this prophecy is coming to pass. And with the report we did regarding what's happening in the United Kingdom with the digital ID and the connection people are making to the mark of the beast. Like, all these things are connected in the spiritual realm. So just make sure your soul is ready for whatever comes next. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is not just geopolitics, it's prophecy in motion. When diplomats walk out on Israel's leader, when nations rush to recognize terrorist states, when the UN becomes a theater of abandonment, we are watching Zechariah's words manifest. The world gathers against Jerusalem exactly as foretold. Even former allies desert God's chosen nation while Hamas celebrates their betrayal. Netanyahu compared giving Palestinians a state after October 7th to giving al-Qaeda territory next to New York after 9/11. The comparison is perfect, yet deaf ears multiply. The same Europe that hosts rallies funded by Nazi fortune heirs now turns its back on Holocaust survivors' children. From campus mobs to EU capitals, anti-Semitism disguised as politics spreads like a prophetic plague. So here's my question. Is the world's abandonment of Israel fulfilling end-time prophecy? Yes or no? Share your biblical insight below and stand with truth. Visit our merch shop and wear your convictions proudly. Wow. Do not look to the left or to the right. Keep your eyes on God. Amen. Sounds like UN planned a few things. Holy Land. Gary, thank you too. Heather, you're cuckoo. Are you one of the Mormons out there in Utah, says Joshua? What? Mr. Cheddar Prepper says yes. You guys think this is part of it? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we're really in the end times. There's no question about it. Both entities are Jesuit entities. Mossad didn't have to create it for it to be another Jesuit entity. Absolutely true. Could very well be. Heather, another moron. I don't know John, what's going on. What are you guys doing in there? Leftists are godless people. Thank you, Gary, N3 family. Joshua Tiff says I'm Jewish. Well, when America flips, you're in the end and on the wrong side of history. Yes, I agree. Freebird says, share for you over on Rumble says, Satan is trying, but God wins. Amen, he does. Okay. Raw Feed Nation, it's Friday night. And what we have just witnessed is the most prophetic convergence of headlines in modern history. So let's connect the dots one more time, because what we're seeing isn't random, it's orchestrated both in the halls of power and in the heavenlies above. James Comey surrenders tomorrow. The man who weaponized the FBI, who leaked classified information, who tried to overthrow a duly elected president, finally facing justice, but he's just the first. Trump promised more indictments, and the deep state rats are scurrying for cover. 4 years of calling us conspiracy theorists, and now their own documents prove we were right. The system that persecuted patriots is being dismantled brick by brick. The January 6th truth bomb exploded today. 274 federal agents embedded in the crowd. Not a theory, but documented fact from their own after-action reports. Americans sit in prison while government operatives who orchestrated the whole thing collected paychecks. The Fedsurrection is real, the evidence undeniable, and every political prisoner deserves immediate release and compensation. Across the Atlantic, Britain launches its digital ID tyranny. No work without the mark, says Keir Starmer. Christians worldwide recognize Revelation 13 coming to life, a system where government controls who can buy or sell based on biometric compliance. The beast system isn't coming, it's here, and they're not even hiding it anymore. And President Trump officially designating Antifa as domestic terrorists after years of watching these black-clad cowards burn cities and assault citizens. We finally have a president willing to call evil by its name. Dr. Borisenko exposing their plans to weaponize unions and collapse our economy. The Dallas ICE shooter proved that they've graduated to assassination. The terrorist label fits perfectly. And in the Middle East, the world abandons Israel exactly as prophesied. The UN chamber emptied as Netanyahu spoke truth. Nations rush to recognize terrorist states while Jerusalem becomes the burdensome stone Zechariah warned about. The spiritual significance cannot be ignored. We're watching biblical prophecy unfold in real time. So to everyone who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants tonight, you guys are the heartbeat of the show, and your support, your voices, your passion for truth keeps us going. We are just $5 shy from our target. Arcadia Angel dropping 20. Irving Sanguinetti dropping 25. Alice Cersei, $49.99. Thank you. So who will drop the last $5? Who wants that acknowledgement from Gary Franchi? Will you get that shout out? Will you join the cause? Remember, you're not just viewers, you're family. And keep telling friends about the Raw feed. Share tonight's stream. The establishment doesn't want these connections made, these truths told, or these prophecies exposed. If you want to support the work, you can go to our merch shop, and you can wear your convictions proudly. So tonight we witness history and prophecy colliding. The deep state crumbles, surveillance states emerge, terrorists get names, and nations align against God's chosen people. We're not just reporting news, we are documenting the birth pangs of a new era. And until Monday, Raw Feed Nation, stay vigilant, stay faithful, and stay free. And Bruce Pyatt coming through, putting us over the target. $10. Thank you for your support, Bruce. Almost closed out the show without giving you acknowledgement, so I'm thankful that you did that. So until tomorrow, stay vigilant, or until Monday, stay vigilant, stay faithful, and stay free. This is Gary Franchi reminding you, you're the news now. God bless you. And another from Tamra. Hey, Tamra, dropping 5. Thank you. You rock. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a last-minute super chat. Sneaks. Tamara says, you rock, Gary. Thank you. And Sneaks writes, Gary, I never questioned God as to why he took Charlie Kirk home so early. I'm still grieving over it. But could it just be that we were so close to the end as we know it that God took him home a little early? Well, here's my take. If you want to get biblical on that. See, I believe we are in the end times. And there is going to be a great separating of the wheat and the chaff. And our Savior, Jesus Christ, does not want any of us to perish. And that is why God sent his only Son to die on the cross, to defeat sin and death and be resurrected on the third day. He doesn't want us to perish. Now, I don't know who writes. We have free will, right? So, in somehow, some way, Charlie's life, from beginning to end, played out a specific purpose. And there is a great revival that is occurring because of Charlie's death. And if you remember what Stuart Rhodes said in my interview, he said, what Satan intends for evil, God will do for good. God will use for good. And that's exactly what's happening if you look at that in the context of Charlie Kirk's death. Because Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there's a great outpouring of the Spirit upon this earth, upon this nation. Charlie, if you go back and you watch some of his videos, and I've been doing a lot of that lately, and to be honest with you, I didn't really watch a lot of Charlie Kirk's stuff. Like I've said before, we play his clips now and again when there was something substantive or connected to a topic we were covering. And I always appreciate the work he did. And his debates were always fascinating. But if you watch some of them with the ones that were more religious or more Christian-based, faith-based discussions, he was well-versed. And he was planting a lot of seeds. And at his memorial, which was unprecedented, you saw nearly the entire executive branch, a large percentage of the legislative branch in that memorial hall. And those members of the executive branch that went on stage and memorialized Charlie recognized the spiritual significance of the moment. And they praised God for Charlie. That hall that stadium was filled. Millions and millions of people watching from all over the world on stream after stream after stream, channel after channel, rebroadcasting. I couldn't wait to get to church that Sunday because I wanted to hear how my pastor would present the message of what we'd experienced that day. So when you ask, did God take him home early? No. God took him home right on time for such a time as this. Because with the convergence of prophecy, as we're seeing in the United Kingdom, with the blueprint for the mark of the beast being laid out, the world turning against Israel, as we just saw at the United Nations, these are the birth pangs of the return of Christ. So I believe that Charlie's life served the purpose to accelerate the separation of the wheat from the chaff so that people would turn to God. They would hear Charlie's words. They would hear his explanation of Scripture, his debates with atheists. And they would suddenly, it's like, when a musician passes away, like all of a sudden, all of their, when they had CDs, I'm dating myself, but they would all sell out. You couldn't get them. It's like everyone rushing to find out what he said. Like a musician, everyone wants to hear their music again. Their music becomes new again. So even in Charlie's death, his voice becomes new again for so many people. People who may never have heard of him before, suddenly going, who is Charlie Kirk? Why was he killed? What was he saying that caused people to act against him like this? They're seeking out his words, and they become new. And that spreads like a snowball. growing and growing and growing. So when you ask the question, did God take him home early? No. Again, I'll say he took him home right on time. Remember, you don't know the day nor the hour when our Lord will return. But he did command us to watch. So that's what I do. Love you too, Deb. Thank you for your support. I hope that answers your question. Sneaks? So I want you guys to go out, hug somebody, hug your kids, call your mom, call your dad. And just remember, our time on this planet is short. Open up your Bible. You know what I love to do? I call it Bible roulette. I'm sure you do it too. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Just randomly open up the Bible, boom, and then just like put your finger down and read it. It's I don't know, I just like to chance, and oftentimes you'll find something that you'll read that actually is for something you may be struggling with, a moment you might need an answer for. It's pretty cool. I challenge you to do that. And just have a beautiful and blessed weekend, okay, guys? I love you. Good night.